subscribe, like the video, and, if possible, join Patreon. But if you don't have much money, you can support the channel by watching the novels on euroaudiobooks.com. Remember that you can participate in the polls so that your favorite novel gets published for free.
Ayn felt very uncomfortable. Uncomfortable with Kiya's attitude towards Menchi. Kiya actually transferred herself here just for a woman. Moreover, after seeing Kiya face off with Mistress Kikyo for Menchi, Yamain became even more agitated. After checking the reason for his current mood overnight, Yamain also knew what his current situation was. I seem to be jealous, to eat Menchi's jealousy. Yamain was taken aback after knowing that she would actually have such emotions, because it means that I have feelings for Kiya. As a housekeeper, it is completely unacceptable for him to have such undeserved feelings for his master. Yamain immediately wanted to cut off his feelings that he didn't know when. However, Yamain couldn't do it no matter what, and his heart was extremely entangled. Moreover, this feeling became more and more intense with the entanglement in his heart. It is precisely for this reason that Yamain did such an abnormal thing today. In the past, she always obeyed orders. Okay, Yamain wants to act with me. I can't wait for it. Faced with Yamain's expectant look and those eyes like small animals, Kiya was slightly amused in his heart. With a faint smile on his face, gave the answer. As soon as these words came out, Yamain's eyes lit up and his heart thumped. I actually did it, and Master Kiya also allowed it. While Yamain's heart was secretly startled, it was more joyful. The corners of his mouth raised unconsciously on his expressionless face, and a faint smile appeared on his delicate face. And all of this, Yamain himself did not notice at all. Instead, Kiya at the back noticed it through the central rearview mirror. Yamain seems to be a little abnormal today, Kiya muttered inwardly. Master Kiya, where are you going? Ah, this one. Let's go to Shamil Wetland. Yes, Master Kiya. Master Kiya, why did you come to this place? After more than an hour's journey, Kiya and Yamain arrived outside the wetland, got off the car, and walked towards the periphery of the wetland. While walking, Yamain was also puzzled. Naturally, she knew what this place was in the Wetmile wetland. It was a place where monsters and monsters gathered. What is Master Kiya doing in this kind of place? Kill the monster, Kiya replied very calmly. What? Kill Warcraft? Came here specifically to kill monsters? What's so good about World of Warcraft? In addition to gaining some combat experience, killing monsters is completely thankless. By the way, increased combat experience. Speaking of it, it seems that Master Kiya doesn't have much combat experience with monsters except for assassination missions. Did you come here to gain combat experience? Yamain looked at Kiya's indifferent expression. Guessed silently. However, after the two of them went deep into the periphery of Shamil Wetland, Yamain directly overturned his guess. Have you ever seen that person who kills enemies instantly to accumulate combat experience? Along the way, the place where the two of them passed was bloody and bloody. Countless monsters lost their lives under Kiya's yo-yo. Along the way, Yamain no longer speculated on Kiya's reason for killing the monster. She could see that there was no reason for Kiya to come here to kill monsters, but simply came here to kill monsters. Seeing Kiya constantly looking for the hidden monsters and then killing them instantly, Yamain did not continue to remain silent. She was going to act with Kiya by Kiya's side, so naturally she couldn't just do nothing. Therefore, she also started to kill monsters and fight monsters with Kiya. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing and getting 23 enhancement points. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing and getting 26 enhancement points. The system's killing reminder sounded continuously in his mind, and Kiya's strengthening points were slowly increasing. However, after finding a monster again and killing it, Kiya stopped, looking helplessly at Yamain, who was even crazier than herself. Yamain, are you trying to steal monsters from me? Kiya asked with some confusion. Master Kiya, do you want to kill these monsters by yourself? Sorry, my subordinate has overstepped. Hearing this, Yamain was taken aback for a moment, hearing the entanglement in Kiya's words, and then quickly admitted his mistake in a low voice. You don't need to make a move. Just follow me. I will do it myself. Kiya nodded slightly and ordered. Yes, Master Kia. Chapter 26. Leaf Linen's departure. Master Kia's strength has become stronger again. After watching Kia easily blow up a huge monster with his fist, Yamain's heart once again stirred up waves. She could see that Kia hadn't used none since just now, and was purely using her physical strength to attack. Just now, in front of her, Kia punched a monster more than 10 meters in size and very powerful at first glance. Even if he uses none himself, it is difficult to kill this monster. However, in Kia's hands, it was dealt with lightly, without even using none. This situation looked very shocking in the eyes of Yamain. But on Kia's own side, it feels very normal. Kia's enhancer has been directly strengthened 4 times after awakening. Although it cannot be compared with Conjurer, it is still extremely powerful. With the enhancer reaching this level, Kia's physique has naturally changed a lot. The current Kia is completely comparable to Yuvajin in Phantom Troop in terms of physique and strength. That guy Yuvajin is known as Phantom Troop's strongest wrist, so it goes without saying that his strength is strong. With Kia's strength at this level, it will be no problem to kill a monster outside the wetland without using none. Okay, the warm-up is over, and the next step is to enter the depths. After punching the enemy in front of him and listening to the system's prompt, Kia twisted his body, making a crisp sound, and then said calmly, "Master Kia, you want to enter the depths of Shamil Wetland." As soon as these words came out, Yamain was startled. As the steward of the Zoldyck family, there is naturally a lot of knowledge to learn, including the situation of secret places around the world. Linen's sound is very clear. What a terrifying place deep in the Wetmeal Wetland is. In the depths of the Wetmeal Wetland, it is very dangerous, even for my grandma, to enter that kind of place. So when he heard that Kia actually wanted to enter that kind of place, he couldn't help shouting out, "Well, the magical beasts there are more valuable." Faced with Yamain's fuss, Kia was not surprised and said calmly, No, Master Kia, that kind of place is not something that you can enter now, Master Kia. Master Kia, you must have at least half the strength of the Master to enter. Yamain won't let you in, Master Kia." Hearing Kia's casual words, Yamain also knew Kia's contempt and quickly stopped her. Although as housekeepers, the Master's instructions and orders are given priority, but as housekeepers, they are also qualified to dissuade them from taking risks when the Master is in danger and insists on going his own way. "Yamain, look at me." Looking at Yamain, Kia said with a smile on her face. Immediately, a terrifying aura swept out instantly, enveloping the Linen sound. Yamain's long straight black hair flew straight up at this moment, and his pupils constricted. It's so strong. No, it's terrifying. This kind of aura is even more terrifying than Grandma's aura. Looking at Kia, who was smiling, Yamain was extremely shocked. Kia was naturally not angry when Yamain stopped him. He knew that Yamain was doing it for his own good, so naturally he couldn't blame her. However, he also knew that Yamian's character was very serious and old-fashioned. If he couldn't convince her, Yamian might try his best to stop him. So Kia doesn't mind letting Yamain know her strength. And if you want to let others know your own strength, the 4 major lines in none, and the FA among them, is the best choice. Win by momentum. I don't move. The enemy retreats by itself. This is hair. While overwhelming others with power, hair is also the best way to make the enemy feel the terror of himself. Just like the Sky Arena and the 200 floors in the original book, this is what Hisoka used to intimidate J Freaks and the original Kia. While intimidating the enemy, it also allows the enemy to fully understand their own strength and their own terror. FA, Kia didn't release it for too long. Kia retracted it in just 3 seconds. After all, Yamain in front of him is one of his own, not an enemy, so there is no need to use this to intimidate her. 3 seconds is enough time for Yamain to know his current strength. "I'm going into the depths of Shamil Wetland now. Is it okay?" Kia asked with a smile, seeing Wei Wei's sluggish linen voice. Hearing Kia's voice, Yamain also came back to his senses, looked at Kia with a slightly complicated expression, did not speak, but nodded, expressing that he would not hinder Kia's actions. "Since there is no problem, let's go." Kia nodded slightly. then turned and walked in the direction he had gone before. Master Kia! At this moment, Yamain suddenly spoke. Kia paused, turned around, and looked at Yamain suspiciously, wondering what she was going to do when she called her back. Master Kia, I'm very sorry. I just asked for my order to serve you, Master Kia, but in Yamian, I had to ask the master to forgive me, and then Yamian will not be able to stay with Master Kia. In the depths of the Shy-Mile wetland, that place is not accessible to the Linen Sound. Entering that kind of place, the Linen Sound will only become a burden and cause trouble to Master Kia. Seeing Kia's gaze, Linen Tone immediately startled, quickly lowered his eyes, not daring to look at Kia, and said in a somewhat evasive manner, "Is that so? Well, you stay outside." Kia heard this, thought for a while, and then nodded. Indeed, although the flax tone can be none, it is not very strong. After all, he is not very old, only in his teens. After finishing speaking, Kia turned around and prepared to move on, but Yamain stopped Kia again and made Kia turn around again. Wait, Master Kia, Yamain has something else to tell you. Kia didn't speak, looked at the Linen Tone, and motioned to the Linen Tone to continue. I'm sorry, Master Kia. I just asked to follow Master Kia, but now Yamain has to apply to withdraw this request. Please forgive me, Master Kia, Master Kia. The current Yamian is not qualified to stand by your side. So Yamian wants to go back to Kukla Mountain to find Grandma to practice and improve his strength so that he will be qualified to stand by your side one day to share your worries. Yamain changed her dodging expression before, stared into Kia's eyes seriously, and said seriously, I agree to your request. Kia was slightly taken aback, silent for more than 10 seconds, then smiled faintly at Yamain and gave a reply. After finishing speaking, he turned around and walked towards the depths of the Wetmeal wetland. Please rest assured, Yamain will never let you down. Seeing Kia's back going away, Yamain took 2 steps forward and shouted loudly. Then I'm looking forward to it. Chapter 27 Traps and Escapes. The concentration of the fog has weakened. What's going on? Kia noticed something strange as soon as he stepped into the dividing line. In the depths of Shy-Mile wetland, there was dense fog, and the visibility was less than 5 meters, but now the dense fog has dissipated a lot, and it can be clearly seen within a radius of more than 20 meters. Is it because I killed Siam Oku? No, it shouldn't be. It may be the peculiarity of this place. However, these have nothing to do with me. It is more beneficial for me to dissipate the dense fog. Those monsters that rely on the dense fog to hide have lost their natural shelter. I can find them more easily. In the depths of Shy-Mile wetland, although many monsters will eliminate their breath and make themselves hidden, ordinary people can't find their existence at all. However, among them, the role of dense fog occupies most of it. Because of the dense fog, these magical beasts almost completely disappeared in the wetland after the breath was eliminated. If the perception ability was not strong, they would not be found at all. However, now that the dense fog has dissipated so much, the possibility of these monsters being exposed will increase greatly. Such a great opportunity. Let's do it. After carefully scanning the surroundings, Kia stepped forward and acted quickly. Soon, there was commotion in the depths of the quiet Wetmeal wetland. The screams of monsters resounded over the wetland from time to time, fleeting, and Kia's strengthening point is also rising steadily. Kia obtained 427 enhancement points outside the wetland before, and there were 763 points left, which adds up to 1190 enhancement points. And entering here, Kia's strengthening point increases at twice the speed of the outside of the Wetmeal wetland. In just 1 hour, Kia's reinforcement points increased by more than 1,000. Up to now, Kia's reinforcement points have reached 2,530 points. But, although she has obtained so many strengthening points, Kia's face does not have any happy expression, but frowns tightly. It's strange, the monsters along the way seem to be purposely exposed, and although the exposed positions are different, but when I think about it carefully, these monsters seem to be leading me to a certain place. Killed one again, Kia's immature face frowned after the demonic beast with good strength and couldn't recognize its type, thinking carefully. Kia discovered the weirdness of these magical beasts, and since just now, Kia has always had a bad feeling. This feeling is as if I continue to go deeper, I will encounter a very terrifying crisis. However, this premonition loomed, making Kia a little uncertain. However, although it is looming, every time it is perceived, this premonition becomes stronger. Go, get out of here! After thinking for a while, Kia made a decisive decision and gave up the plan to continue hunting monsters here. Speed. Flash. Accompanied by Kia's low voice, Kia's body turned into a bolt of lightning and flashed towards the distance. In the blink of an eye, Kia's figure appeared 200 meters away, and then the thunder flashed again and the figure disappeared again. But at the moment Kia turned on the super speed, a change suddenly appeared in the depths of the wetland. A vicissitudes and majestic voice resounded throughout the depths of the wetland. Do it! Kia, who was running at high speed, shrank his pupils when he heard the voice and said secretly, Really? Immediately, Kia's whole body flashed with lightning again. The thunder snake surged, and its speed doubled again. And at this moment, an invisible wave spread from Kia's left side. The air became viscous in an instant, and the resistance increased greatly. Under this resistance, Kia's speed suddenly weakened. Kia was startled for a moment. However, it was more than that. The next moment, Kia found that there was a strong pressure coming from his body. Unable to prevent it, Kia was directly pressed to the ground. The ground was directly pressed out of countless cracks, and Kia's body was tightly attached to the ground. Immediately afterwards, dense clusters of sharp objects exuded faint light, covering Kia from above Kia, like giant hands covering the sky. Boom! The earth cracked, gunpowder smoke filled the air, and gravel flew across. Countless cracks spread out like spider webs. Swish! A figure rushed out of the gunpowder smoke and came to a big tree and squatted halfway. The air has become thicker. Also, is this pressure due to gravity? Kia silently analyzed with a gloomy face. Boom! Roar! Call out! Swish! With a sound, for majestic and terrifying monsters appeared in front of Kia. A huge black bear with a height of more than 20 meters, a white tiger with a pair of white wings. And in front of Kia is a small but strange wasp, and behind it is a huge group of the same kind, guarding it like a guard. As for the last one, it was a white ape with a normal body, holding a stick made of fine steel and covered with silver hair. The white ape stood at the front, and the other three stood a little behind. It can be seen at a glance that the four monsters are mainly white apes. Humans who killed Sa-Mo-Ku. Shamil will be your burial place. When Kia was observing the four monsters, the white ape suddenly spoke and spit out human language. The ape actually spoke. So, was it the one that made the sound just now? What a surprise. No, it is not very unusual. The Chimera Ant Queen from the Dark Continent can speak, and it is acceptable for a powerful monster to speak human words. But it's really strange that overlords of your level would group together to attack humans. Have you let go of your dignity? Kia squinted his eyes and said lightly, his tone full of contempt. Although I really don't want to admit that the strength of that guy, Sa-Mo-Ku, is one of the best among us, but it fell into your hands, and from your frequent entry and exit, your target is us monsters, rather than just sit and wait for death. It is better to work together to get rid of your threat. For this, it is nothing to sacrifice some dignity. Facing Kia's contemptuous tone, the white ape did not show any anger, but was very indifferent. The rabbit died, and the fox was sad. That is to say, Sa-Mo-Ku died in the hands of Kia, which made them feel this kind of feeling that shouldn't have happened and made them feel the crisis. That's why they put aside their previous suspicions and joined forces to attack Kia. Who? Interesting. But do you think I look like a fool? Kia was slightly surprised, and then with a faint smile on his face, he smiled lightly at the white ape. What do you mean? Kia asked such a question suddenly, which immediately surprised by Yuan. Literally, goodbye, old guy. A sadistic and mocking smile appeared on his immature face, and the next moment, Kia's side disappeared from the sight of the four monster overlords in the white light. Chapter 28, Get Kicked Out, disappeared, whether his body shape or breath, completely disappeared. The four monster overlords present looked at Kia, who had completely disappeared, and looked at each other in blank dismay. This kid, did he use this ability to escape Sa-mo-ku's self-destruction? Damn it, let him escape. White Ape gritted his teeth. However, you'd better not show up. Let us find out next time, and I will never let you run away again, and I will definitely let you fall here. Taking a deep look in the direction of the periphery of Shy Mile Wetland, the White Ape secretly hate rode. Immediately, it exchanged glances with the other three monsters, jumped, and quickly left here. The other three monsters looked at each other in blank dismay, and they also parted ways and left here. It's so dangerous, so dangerous. I didn't expect these guys to be so shameless and join forces to deal with me. Fortunately, I have the ability to space, otherwise I might have been left there this time. Outside the wetland, Kia's side appeared with a white light. As soon as it appeared, Kia looked at the wetland inside. He said to himself, "The four overlords of Warcraft just now exude a powerful aura that is not weaker than that of Sa-mo-ku, and they are not easy to provoke at first glance. Don't look at Kia killing Sa-mo-ku yesterday. It was because Kia occupied the sky yesterday and did it with the help of thundercloud weather. But even so, Kia spent most of the energy in Kia's body to do it. It is conceivable how powerful Sa-mo-ku is, and the strength of these four monsters that do not lose to Sa-mo-ku in terms of momentum can be imagined. Kia's strength is simply impossible to beat. Moreover, under the combination of the four overlords of monsters, Kia's combat power dropped by half directly. If it weren't for the existence of the space ability, under the blockade of these four monsters, Kia would be very reluctant to escape, or even unable to escape. Trait system, space ability, this ability is really my savior. It has saved me twice. Once when Sa-mo-ku blew himself up, and again now. The two times are dangerous, and if you are not careful, you will play go-go. Looking at the situation, we can't go to the depths of the Wetmeal Wetland. Those old guys may have been guarding me. It can only be harvested at the periphery. Although it is small, it is still very impressive to harvest all of it. Those four overlords will never appear in a place like the periphery. Talking to himself, Kia walked towards the periphery of the wetland. Time passed by every minute and every second, and 10 minutes later, an earth-shattering roar came from the periphery of Shy Mile Wetland. And in the city of Valero, hundreds of miles away, Kia stayed at the hotel. In the room where Kia was, Kia's figure appeared out of nowhere accompanied by white light, and then landed on the soft bed. Sitting on the white bedsheet, Kia propped her chin with one hand, with a speechless expression on her face. I just killed Sa-mo-ku. Do you need to hate me so much? Could it be that you have an affair with Sa-mo-ku? Forget about the bear. It's the same species after all, but you are not. Cross-species PY trade. It's really dirty, Kia said cursingly. Just now, after Kia re-entered the wetland, he was hunted down within a few minutes. The four overlords of Warcraft actually ran from the depths of the wetland to the periphery. Seeing the appearance of these four overlords, Kia made a decisive decision and escaped directly using the space ability. Afterwards, the White Ape roared up to the sky. If it was just like this, Kia would not be so speechless. The point is, according to this situation, it means that Kia's idea of killing monsters here has failed. A lot of my strengthening points just flowed away from my hands. If I had known earlier, I wouldn't have gone back to the depths of the Wetmeal Wetland, so I can still brush outside. Wei Wei complained to herself, and Kia put the matter aside. It would have been nice if I had left a mark in the depths of the Wetmeal Wetland before. Then I could steal the backyard of those four old guys while they were on the periphery. Although Kia has the ability to space, Kia does not all places will leave marks. After all, many places are not suitable for leaving marks. Dangerous places like the depths of the wetlands. Who knows if you will be chilled by the monsters when you teleport over. Moreover, the farther away the place, the more mental energy it takes to teleport there. So Kia never left a mark in the depths of the Wetmeal Wetland before. Next, how about finding that place as a field to spawn monsters? Looking at the scenery outside the window, Kia fell into deep thought. The room became quiet again. A few minutes later, Kia's voice sounded again. Let's go back first. I can't think of any secret realm suitable for spawning monsters. Go back and find the family's biography. After thinking for a few minutes, Kia made a decision. Go back and search for other secret realms. Just do what she said. After a brief wash, Kia checked out directly, left the hotel, and left the city of El Aro. Oh, by the way, let's remind Min Shi. Kia suddenly thought of something, took out his mobile phone, and sent a message to Min Shi to remind him. With the personality of that guy Min Shi, after recovering, it is really possible to enter the wet meal wetland again. With her strength, entering there now is absolutely dead. No way, that kid Kia actually caused such a big disaster. Those overlords mainly came out of the wet meal wetland, so it will be troublesome. You have to report the matter to the president as soon as possible, so that the group can send someone over here. Just received Kia's message. After seeing the content of the message, Min Shi was taken aback, and then she thought of the bad thing about this situation, quickly took the phone, and sent the message the information was reported to President Netero of the Hunter Association. Within a few days, the wetland welcomed the bad old man from the Hunter Association. As soon as this bad old man came, he directly cleaned up the 4 overlords, and then drove them back to the depths. As for why this bad old man didn't kill him, I don't know. These things are all things for later. Kia naturally doesn't know. If she knows, Kia will definitely come back here again. Although you can't go to the depths, you can still go to the periphery. At this time, Kia has boarded the airship back to Kukula Mountain. Chapter 29, Silva's Lament. After boarding the return airship, Kia quickly returned to Kukula Mountain. Standing in front of the trial gate, Kia looked at the majestic and huge gate in front of him and was silent. I don't know how many doors I can open with my current strength. Thinking this way, Kia walked towards the door of trial with her backpack on her back. The immature little hand was placed on the door, and the next moment, the veins were exposed. Kia clenched her teeth, and all the strength in her body was released at this moment. With a strange noise, the heavy trial door was slowly pushed open. The doors on that floor after floor were also opened one after another. Until the end, the 7 gates were completely opened under the power of Kia. 256 tons. This is Kia's power at this time. No, being able to open all the doors of trials means that Kia's power is far more than that. After all, human power can explode, especially when fighting. I have such a powerful strength without using Nianki. I don't know what kind of strength I will have when I use Enhancer Nianki to fight. Kia can't guess, and if he wants to know his own strength, he must estimate it with the help of those sophisticated machines or by fighting with other enhancers. Without thinking too much, Kia stepped in from the gate of trial and walked towards the interior of Kukula Mountain. But Jeb Barong, the cleaner who witnessed Kia opening all the 7 trial doors outside, was deeply shocked. When did Master Kia possess such terrifying power? At this moment, there was only one thought in G. Borong's mind. Naturally, Silva knew about Kia's return. As soon as he came back, Kia was called by Silva. I heard that you went to the depths of the wet meal wetland. Silva Zoldyck asked, lightly, while standing in front of the balcony, looking at the scenery outside the window. Silva Zoldyck naturally would not ignore Kia calling the housekeeper. After Yamain came back, he immediately asked about Kia from Yamain's mouth, knowing that Kia entered the depths of the wet meal wetland things. However, he didn't expect that just as Yamain came back, Kia also returned to Kukula Mountain. However, for this, he didn't want to ask. It wasn't necessary. What he cares about is Kia's harvest in Shamil wetland. Well, I've gone. As for Silva's question, Kia was not surprised and replied very calmly. What's the gain? Silva continued to ask, and that tone was completely normal for a father who cared about his children. The harvest is pretty good. Hearing this, Kia slightly narrowed her peach eyes and smiled like a little fox. Not only is it good, I can say that I have gained a lot from my visit to the wet mile wetland this time. The space ability of the trait system, the breath of the archangel of the manipulator, the thunder of the conjurer, and the physical strengthening of the enhancer. None of these gains, any kind, can be achieved by ordinary people in their lifetime. Seeing Kia's expression, the paralyzed Silva couldn't help being surprised. He naturally knew what Kia's appearance represented. Every time Kia shows this appearance, It means that he has got a very considerable baby, so that the calm young son in his impression can't hold the expression on his face, laughing like a little fox who stole chicken same. How about it? The strength of the monster is deep in the Shamil wetland. He didn't intend to ask about Kiya's harvest, but started to ask Kiya's opinion on the Shamil wetland. It's impossible for a strong, ordinary nun to survive there. Silva's question immediately made Kiya's face serious, and he said very seriously, "Don't look at Kiya shuttling back and forth in the depths of the wetmeal wetland freely. It's because Kiya's strength is strong enough, and there is a space for none to exist. If it were an ordinary person's nun, that is, the scum of those none would definitely die without life. Dad, even if you go into that place, it's probably very dangerous." Kiya looked at Silva and said, "Oh, do you know my strength very well? And you have such an idea?" Kiya's words immediately made Silva a little unconvinced. He also went through the depths of the wetmile wetland when he was young. Although it was full of dangers, he thought that with his current strength, there was no danger at all when he entered there. He is very confident in his own strength. Yes, I'm sure you don't know how shameless those overlord monsters in the depths of Shamil wetland are. They actually— Wait, you said you met those monster overlords. Hearing Kiya mention the monster overlords, Silva was slightly surprised and interrupted hastily. "That's right, Dad. You don't know how shameless those old guys are. I just killed the same coup, and the rest of the old guys actually joined forces to deal with me, and were killed after I escaped the catastrophe. I actually ran to the outside to guard and didn't let me in. You said they are shameless." Kiya was stunned for a while, then thought of the behavior of those monster beast overlords, and immediately continued. The tone is full of indignation. "Dad, let me tell you, those old guys definitely have some ulterior secret behind them. Some kind of PY transaction." Kiya continued to speak angrily, without knowing it, is twitching slightly. "Dad, what's wrong with you?" This expression, Kiya suddenly noticed Silva's unnatural expression and asked in doubt. "No, nothing." Silva opened his mouth, not knowing what to say. He was shocked by Kiya's words. Warcraft overlords, he naturally knew that when he was young, he also dealt with those Warcraft overlords when he was in the depths of the wetmeal wetland. He also specially provoked them to improve his combat experience. However, he was chased away by the overlords of Warcraft. Now hearing that Kiya actually killed the big guy Sa-Mo, Ku, Silva is not calm no matter how calm he is. Killed a Warcraft overlord at the age of 8. What kind of son am I born to? Monster. Finally, Silva gave the answer in his heart. Chapter 30, Fighting and Tasks. Kiya, do you want to fight with me? Seeing the shameless Kiya, who was still babbling about the overlord of Warcraft, Silva thought for a while, and then asked, Boom. In the training room, bursts of sonic booms were constantly echoing. Thunder was raging, thoughts were surging, and the two figures were fighting fiercely at a speed that was hard to see with the naked eye. The shock waves of punches and punches continued to spread, ravaging the walls of the training room. The terrifying impact, even with the special nature of the training room, the walls are still full of cracks. One can imagine the horror of the power of the impact. The monsters in the wetland are not counted. This is the first time I have fought against a nun, and I'm still fighting against a nin master like my father. This can improve my combat experience and skills with a nun. However, Dad's strength should not be underestimated. If you can use the power of the thunder of nature, you may be able to tie the game. With my own strength, I'm not an opponent at all. In the battle of life and death, my father and I have a winning rate of 7 to 3 points. Whether it's the sophistication of combat experience, the greatness of mind energy, and the use of skills, I can't match it. It really is worthy of being the head of the Zoldyck family. This strength is indeed well-deserved. I have to become stronger, otherwise it is impossible for the whole family to approve my decision. On top of Dad, there is Grandpa Gino, and on top of that is Maha's great-great-grandfather. If I want to gain the approval of all of them, I must have stronger strength. Silva Zoldyck is worthy of being the patriarch who can inherit the Zoldyck family. His strength, even the current Kiya, is still no match. The enhancer's strengthened mind energy and the conjurer's thunder. The two were superimposed, and Kiya tried her best. Although she was not defeated, she was still suppressed and fell behind. If Kia had more combat experience, he might be able to fight with Silva Zoldyck, the head of the Zoldyck family. However, right now, it is a rare opportunity to fight against a nun master of my father's level. This opportunity must be grasped well. Fight with all your strength and increase your skills as much as you can increase your combat experience. With this thought, Kia's offensive became more ferocious, almost a life-threatening attack. On Kia's side, he was impressed by Silva's powerful strength, so why not on Silva's side? From the initial temptation to the stormy battle now, Silva is getting more and more frightened. He can be sure that Kia's strength is very close to his own. It's just that the combat experience and skills are still immature among none. If Kia has the same rich combat experience as himself, maybe he has to fight with his life to defeat Kia. Come here, Kia. After punching Kia again, the two flew upside down. Silva stabilized his body and then reached out to stop Kia, who was attacking again. Hearing Silva's words, Kia suddenly stopped from the state of super speed. What's the matter? Dad, why stop? I already know your strength very well. There is no need to continue fighting, Silva said lightly. He proposed to fight Kia this time because he wanted to test Kia's strength. After the battle, just now, he already knew Kia's strength positioning. It can be said that Kia's current strength is already the fourth place of Zoldyck. The Zoldyck people of this generation are respected by Kia in terms of strength. Even if they are fans of IL, they're not Kia's opponents. Of course, there was another reason for stopping. That is, he found that Kia's attacks became more and more crazy, and he was fighting for his life. This guy doesn't know how to measure. The battle between father and son has developed to this extent. Yes, forget it. Hearing this, Kia was stunned for a few seconds and then retreated from the super speed state with a regretful look. I recognize your strength. Even IL fans are not your opponents. I'm very sure of this. However, your combat experience and skills are slightly insufficient. Kia, I have a task here. Originally, I planned to complete it by myself. This time, I will leave it to you and let you complete it. Seeing Kia's discouraged expression, Silva's expressionless face, the corner of his mouth twitched. This kid is really enough, and he still looks like a pity for killing his father. Mission? Kia frowned slightly, wondering. Yes, the mission. This mission is to assassinate the member of the A-level criminal group Phantom Troop, Brigade Member Number 8. I'll ask Wutong to hand over the task information to you later, so you can go. Just enough to increase your combat experience and skills. Silva said lightly. Is this task? Yes, I will take it. Kia did not expect Silva to entrust this task to myself. According to the original situation, he should have shot it himself. And after he succeeded, he also said that it was not worthwhile to kill the members of the Phantom Troop members. Moreover, this assassination mission should have appeared a year later. Why did it appear now? Kia was a little puzzled, but didn't care too much. It's not bad to entrust this task to myself, just to try the assassination technique combined with the new abilities. Well, that's it. Silva nodded slightly, and then left the dilapidated training room. Kia looked at the messy scene around, shrugged, and left. After returning to her own room, Kia washed up quickly. Dad's fist is so powerful. If I hadn't possessed the Enhancer's defense, I might have been broken directly. I scanned my body carefully, looking at the injuries of different degrees, purple-blue, congestion. Kia sighed with emotion. Immediately, Kia directly used the breath of the Archangel. In just a few seconds, he returned to his original state. Hey, even though I was beaten like this, my dad can't please me, Kia thought gloatingly. Kia's Enhancer attack is no joke either. In fact, Silva is really having a hard time at this time. There were bruises everywhere under the practice clothes. Kia, you are really ruthless. In the room, Silva wiped the wound medicine and thought silently. Boom, boom, boom. There was a light knock on the door, followed by the voice of Wutong. Master Kia, I am Wutong, and I have sent you a message. Come in. Chapter 31, One-Hit Kill. According to the intelligence, this is where Brigade Number 8 stayed recently. Sky Arena. What is Brigade Number 8 doing here? With doubts, Kia stepped into the Sky Arena. Speaking of which, I should have been thrown here by my dad when I was 6 years old, and then I would fight from the first floor to the 200th floor after 2 years. Should I participate in the competition? Kia suddenly had a thought. But, after thinking about it, Kia shook her head and denied this sudden thought. For me now, Sky Arena can't enhance my strength at all. So forget it. The current Kia is doing everything possible to increase his strength, and he doesn't want to waste time on such things at all. Let's find out the location of Brigade number 8 first, complete the mission, and then go back to collect information about other secret realms. Kia didn't mean to delay. Rather than wasting time here, it's better to complete the task early, and then go back to Kokula Mountain to find the family's collection of books and find the next monster spawn point. Isin, why are you here? In the Sky Arena, on the 200th floor, in the dark corridor, two figures, one tall and one short, stood side by side, watching the competition being held outside, and the short figure made a voice. It can be heard from the voice that the owner of this voice is a woman. Well, of course I have my reasons for coming here, Maki. Just leave it alone. Another figure also spoke, and the gentle and magnetic voice echoed in the corridor, giving people a feeling of spring breeze. However, it's clear that the being named Maki doesn't care about him. Speak normally, or I'll sew your mouth shut. After hearing this, Maki trembled unconsciously, and then warned with black lines all over his head. The two are members of Phantom Troop. Maki of Brigade number 3, and Kia's target this time is Brigade number 8, an existence named Isin. Haha, Maki, you're still the same. The style of the painting changed suddenly, and the original magnetic voice suddenly disappeared, replaced by a very rough and old man's voice. I saw the tall brigade now. 8 patted Maki on the shoulder wholeheartedly and laughed heartily. I just like seeing you like this. It's so cute. Swish. A cold light flashed, and a silver needle shot towards Brigade number 8's forehead with lightning speed. Oh, you are serious. Brigade no. 8 was obviously taken aback, quickly dodged to avoid the sudden attack, and then roared angrily. Shut up and touch my shoulder again, and I'll send you to hell, you disgusting guy. Maki's eyes flashed with a faint light, and it was not difficult to see from his eyes that he was interested in the Brigade number 8 in front of him. Disgust. After finishing speaking, Maki left here quickly, leaving number 8 of the brigade standing there alone in uncertainty. A drop of blood fell from Brigade number 8's brow and fell to the ground. After a long time, Brigade No. 8 slowly raised his head, without that cloudy look at all. Instead, he raised the corners of his mouth with a weird smile on his face. This is a middle-aged man with extraordinary appearance and charm, coupled with his gentle and magnetic voice just now. He is a proper killer of ignorant girls. According to his conditions, if he were to tease those ignorant girls, he would definitely be sure to hit him. Maybe that's why Maki hates him. Hee, I really value you. Maki, I will definitely get you. The middle-aged man smiled lightly, with a meaningful smile on his face. Call out. At this moment, a silver ray of light quietly flashed across the neck of Brigade number 8. Brigade number 8 suddenly shrank his pupils and launched his Nyanki defense without hesitation. Then at the critical moment, he squatted down, quickly dodged the blow, and then rolled a donkey and quickly opened the distance. All of this happened within 1 second, which shows how fast Brigade number 8 is. However, even at such a fast speed, Brigade number 8 still couldn't escape all of them. Even with the Nyanki defense, there was still a blood stain on his neck, and the blood slowly flowed down from his neck, staining his white shirt. Who is it? Brigade number 8 didn't care about the wound on his neck at all. At this time, he was staring around vigilantly, looking for the enemy in the dark. This guy is very strong, but he's still much weaker than me. In the dark, Kia, who used dark steps to hide, was observing Brigade number 8, secretly analyzing, and then concluded result. That is, although the strength of the guy in front of him is strong, he is not too strong. However, this is only relative to Kia. This guy is not as strong as Dad, but it will take some time for Dad to kill this guy. But the rewards they get are not equal, so they say uneconomical things. However, this is only for Dad. However, for Kia, this is indeed a very simple matter. After this guy got hit by himself because of his slack, the assassination could basically be announced as an end. Without continuing to hide, Kiya stepped out of the darkness openly. Children, Brigade Number 8, who was vigilant about his surroundings, was startled when he saw Kiya coming out of the darkness, with an expression of disbelief. But immediately his face changed immediately, and he stared at Kiya firmly, extremely vigilant, and his whole body was on extreme alert. This kid was able to hide from his perception, sneaked up to his side, and assassinated him. If it wasn't for his quick reaction, he might have been killed by the blow just now. My name is Kiya Zoldyck. I am a killer. I am here to take your life this time. Looking at No. 8 of the brigade, who was staring at her vigilantly, Kiya looked relaxed and freehand. Even with a faint smile, said to him, without any fighting posture, the words were full of contempt for Brigade Number 8. It's from a Zoldyck family. You guys don't get carried away. After hearing Kiya's words, No. 8 of the brigade was stunned for a moment, and then seeing Kiya's gesture, Brigade Number 8's face darkened, and a burst of anger rushed straight to his forehead. Is this guy looking down on me with such a gesture? The thoughts all over his body surged, and a powerful aura shot up into the sky in an instant, sweeping out towards the surroundings. The walls and ceiling of the corridor were overwhelmed by this powerful thought, covered with cracks, and instantly on the verge of collapse. Stinky boy, die for me! With a roar, Number 8 of the brigade was about to attack Kiya. However, the next moment, he was stunned. The powerful thoughts disappeared in an instant. Bright blood flashed across his eyes, and Number 8 of the brigade tightly covered his neck with his hands. But the blood was still there. Constant gushing. How come? Chapter 32, Greed. How come? With the unbelievable voice of Brigade Number 8, Brigade No. 8 fell to his knees directly on the ground. Blood gushed out quickly, and the ground was dyed red in the blink of an eye. Do you think you saw M.O. Ko? Seeing the unbelievable expression of Brigade Number 8, Kiya swung the realized knife, smiled faintly, and mocked with disdain. His enhancer nun has reached a very high level of cultivation. How could the damage caused by this level of enhancer weapon be resisted by a person who is not an enhancer? This guy doesn't have the terrible defensive physique of the Warcraft overlord like Sa-Mo Ku, and his cultivation is not at home. The weapon enhanced by the extremely profound enhancer, coupled with Kiya's thunder power and the space imprint branded after the successful attack. With the joint efforts of the three, Kiya cleaned up this guy with one move. It would be impossible for someone else to do it. This is also the result of Brigade No. 8's underestimation of the enemy Brigade Number 8 is very powerful, which can be seen from the burst of aura that directly hit the 10-meter-high ceiling with cracks and was on the verge of collapse. If he was a little more vigilant, this guy would not be attacked by Kiya or planted a mark by Kiya, thus giving Kiya an opportunity to take advantage of it. Damn it! Turning around and looking at Kiya behind him, Brigade Number 8's eyes were about to burst, and he was holding on to gather all the energy in his body, ready to fight to the death. Even if he dies, he will drag Kiya to die with him. With this thought in mind, Brigade No. 8 gathered all his energy towards the palm of his hand at an extremely fast speed, ready to strike Kiya with all his strength. But is it possible? Kiya is not one of those brainless villains. When facing the enemy, be so sloppy and then give the enemy a chance to come back. Although this guy's throat was cut by himself, who knows if his nun has the ability to heal. So, just in case, Kiya didn't give Brigade No. 8 a chance at all. Squeak. The sound of thunder sounded, and a gun of thunder condensed in Kiya's hand. With a wave of Kiya's hand, the gun of thunder sank into the chest of Brigade Number 8, piercing his heart, and then the gun of thunder the gun exploded, enveloping Brigade Number 8. Boom! With a bang, and in just 10 seconds, Member No. 8 of the A-level criminal group, Phantom Troop, fell into the hands of Kiya. Mission completed. Ding! Congratulations to the host for killing Nun Master Eason and getting 1123 enhancement points. With 1123 enhancement points, plus Kiya's previous remaining 2,530 points, Kiya's enhancement points once again broke through the 3,000 skills, reaching 3,653 points. One brigade member provided me with so many reinforcement points. 1 or 2 more, and I'll be able to reinforce again. Do you want to hunt down the members of the brigade? Huh. Kia, who was thinking about it, was suddenly taken aback, and his eyes shifted quickly, looking towards the dark corner not far away. The next moment, a petite figure appeared around the corner. Seeing this figure, Kia was taken aback for a moment, and then the corner of his mouth twitched slightly. It really means that Chow Chow is here. I was just thinking about the members of the brigade, and then I met. The visitor was none other than Maki, the third member of the brigade who had left before. Maki was attracted by Isen's outburst of thoughts, knowing that something must have happened to Isen's side. Although he hates Isen, but Isen is a member of the brigade after all, so Maki can't just sit idly by. After realizing that Isen might be in trouble, or even in danger, Maki immediately returned here the same way. But Maki didn't expect that as soon as he arrived here, he saw Isen lying in a pool of blood, and he was stunned. How was that possible? Maki murmured in shock. It's only been a dozen seconds since the burst of thought energy in one mind, and it has turned into this appearance. Children. Immediately, Maki's attention was attracted by Kiya standing next to Isen's corpse. Who are you? After seeing Kiya, Maki was stunned for a moment, and then immediately unleashed his nun. A slender silk thread appeared in Maki's hand, and a silver needle was tightly squeezed in his hand, facing Kiya questioned. Although it was a question, Maki did not act rashly. Maki will not despise Kiya just because Kiya is a child. Although I really don't want to say that, Isen's strength is also one of the best in the brigade. There are 11 people in the brigade, and they can rank among the top 5 with all their heart. But he died so easily, and the culprit was obviously the child in front of him. Faced with such an existence that can kill Isen in such a short period of time, Maki is despised when his brain is flooded. On the opposite side, Kiya was surprised for a few seconds after seeing Maki. The idea of hunting down the members of the brigade that had just arisen reached its peak at this moment. However, Kiya didn't do anything. Instead, he calmed down quickly. Although there are a lot of enhancement points obtained by killing Nin Masters, Kiya was not dazzled by the huge enhancement points. It's just killing one, and it's still within the acceptable range. But even so, it will still be regarded as an enemy by Phantom Troop and will be retaliated by Phantom Troop. But if the Phantom Troop is hunted, then it will be an endless ending. At that time, Kiya will face all members of Phantom Troop. Kiya thinks that one-on-one or even one-on-one can deal with any 3 people except the leader Krallo. But against the entire Phantom Troop, it is somewhat powerless. Let's forget it. With this in mind, Kiya gave up the idea of doing something to Maki. Glancing at Maki, who was facing an enemy, Kiya shook his head slightly. Then his body swayed slightly and fell into the darkness under Maki's vigilant eyes. Only Maki was left on guard, and Kiya quickly hid in the darkness and left here. 2 days later, Dry Mountain. Have you completed the task? Among the Zoldyck family, Silva looked at Kiya in front of him with a very indifferent expression. Ah, done. Kill with 1 blow. The reward for the mission is 5 billion ringgits, and it will be credited to my card. I'll go first, Dad, Kiya said leisurely, completely unaware of how shocking Silva's ears were by what she said. After speaking, he left. 1-shot kill. Watching Kiya's figure leave, Silva's expression remained silent, not knowing what he was thinking. A few minutes later, Silva sighed leisurely. What am I worrying about? That kid can kill even Sa Mo Ku. So what's so surprising about killing a member of Phantom Troop? Shaking his head slightly, Silva said amusedly. However, Kiya's strength has improved too fast. It is estimated that in 1 or 2 years, he will bring up that matter. Forget it. It's a blessing or a disaster, and it's a disaster that can't be avoided. I hope Kiya can be sure. After all, that guy exists in the dark. A trace of worry flashed across Silva's face, but he put it down immediately. Silva, we have a mission. This time, the employer has appointed the 2 of us to do it together. At this moment, the room was opened, and Gino's figure appeared outside and said to Silva, I see, Father. Chapter 33 High-yielding Sao Gold on the other side, Sky Arena. In a luxurious room, Maki ushered in a special friend. This is a young man in a suit with a mild face and a white gauze tied on his head. This young man is none other than the leader of Phantom Troop, Krallo Lucifer. His attire is exactly the same as in the original book when he appeared in Ukexan City. It can be seen that this guy seems to like to dress like this in normal times. You mean a silver-haired kid killed that guy Eason within 10 seconds and then disappeared into the dark? After listening to Maki's narration, Krallo repeated, "Well, the age is about 8 or 9 years old, but the strength is extremely strong. Standing in front of him, I can feel a very strong sense of crisis. Also, at that time, that kid had killing intent on me. But in the end, for some unknown reason, he didn't make a move and left in hiding. However, I know that once he shoots at me, I will never survive." Maki's face was a little gloomy, and his heart was palpitating. At that time, if Kia shot at her, she would have absolutely no chance of surviving. At the same time, Maki is also very curious about Kia. Curious why Kia has such terrifying power at such a young age. "I know about this matter, and I will investigate. Some time ago, I saw the assassination mission about Eason on the dark web. I checked it just now, and the assassination mission of Eason has been canceled. It should be a professional killer. I'll find out about this matter, but now I have another thing to do. Maki, the assembly order is issued. It's time for the spiders to gather." Krallo's expression was very calm. His eyes flickered slightly, facing Maki ordered. "I understand, Commander." Maki heard the words and responded, "Yeah." Krallo nodded and then left the place. On the other side, after Kia came out of Silva's room, she went straight to the family's library. Didi. The phone in his pocket rang, and Kia took it out to check, only to see the message that the reward had arrived. It's another $5 billion. The money from the killer is so fast. Looking at the message on the phone, Kia sighed slightly. Kia has already saved a large amount of property after several years of career as a killer. Kia is not the Kia in the original book. She spends a lot of money, and the rewards she gets every time are quickly spent. When you need money, you can't make up a few bucks all over your body. So much so that when they needed the Island of Greed, they simply couldn't afford to auction it off. It can only be reduced to the point of working for the rich man Butra before getting mixed into the Island of Greed. Kia's current property value is $52.3 billion. This is the reward Kia has received for the assassination missions in the past few years. Kia doesn't have anything she needs, so she saves everything. Speaking of which, the rich man Bartra seems to have always wanted to obtain the Archangel's breath card from Greed Island to heal his young lover. "I happen to have the breathing ability of an Archangel. Do you want to make a fortune?" That guy almost broke his fortune for his young lover, and even offered a sky-high price of $50 billion just to get a piece of the breath of an Archangel. However, in the original book, a few days before Jay Freaks and the others cleared the customs, this guy's lover passed away, and the rich man Butra also had no love in his life. This guy is also an infatuated kind. Go and fulfill his wish next time you have free time. Of course, the necessary rewards are still required. However, for now, I'd better find the next spawn point first. I'll talk about Butra's matter later. Anyway, his lover is still far from death. Thinking silently, Kia also came to the door of the library, pushed the door open, and Kia walked in. And in a place far away from Kukula Mountain, in a luxurious manner. The rich man Butra was standing quietly in a gorgeously decorated room, looking at the sleeping beauty in front of him. If Bartra knows that Kia has the breathing ability of an Archangel, he will definitely come to find Kia desperately. With his infatuation, the probability is almost 100%. However, it's a pity that this guy doesn't know, so he will continue to suffer from this lovesickness. When Kia is free, remember, when he will be free from the pain of lovesickness. Time passed quickly, and in a flash, 3 days passed. During the past 3 days, Kia has been in the library, not coming out, forgetting to eat and sleep, looking for information on various secret realms. However, the result made Kia very disappointed. What's the matter? Apart from the wetland of Wetmeal, there are no other secret realms or demonic realms with more monsters. Among the piles of books, Kia looked up a little decadently and said with a look of lovelessness, "After spending so much time looking for these days, I didn't find a useful spot to spawn monsters. It's not that there are no secret realms with a large number of monsters besides the Wetmeal Wetland. But these demonic realms and secret realms have all been developed. The powerful monsters inside were almost killed. Only some little ones are left. And it's all because of one person. Kim Freaks, are you a productive sow? One a year. Kia cursed a certain Tsundere uncle viciously. And the uncle Tsundere, who was far away in a certain secret place, sneezed for no reason at this time. I don't have a cold either. Uncle Tsundere rubbed his nose and read in confusion. With his physique, colds basically do not exist. Is that old urchin from Netero talking about me? Or that Palestone guy? Back to Kia. Kia closed the book with a dejected expression and then rubbed her red eyes. Forget it. I'm just a little guy. No matter how small a mosquito is, it's still meat. If you put together a few secret realms, you can get some. Kia made a decision helplessly. Although the powerful monsters in the magic realm and the secret realm have all been cleared away, leaving only a few little ones, in Kia's own opinion. But all of them add up to a very considerable strengthening point. Just take a few more trips by yourself. And at this moment, the ethereal voice of the system suddenly sounded in Kia's mind. Ding! Chapter 34 System Tasks. Ding. Mission reminder. May I ask the host if he has received it? The ethereal voice of the system echoed in Kia's mind, making Kia slightly taken aback when he was about to leave the library. Mission triggered? System, do you have a mission? Ding. As a system, it is not surprising to release tasks. May I ask the host if he will accept the task? The system quickly responded to Kia's doubts and gave the answer. You're right, I'm speechless. With such an answer, Kia nodded slightly in bewilderment. Indeed, as a system, posting tasks is indeed normal operation. The reason why I feel abnormal is nothing more than because the system emphasized that his role is mainly strengthening and did not introduce other functions. So Kia has the illusion that the system has no tasks. Maybe, in addition to strengthening and tasks, the system has other different functions. System, besides these two functions, do you have any other functions? Kia asked after being dazed for a moment. Ding. Please trigger the host by itself. Kia Wei was speechless after hearing such a salty answer from the system. Immediately, Kia did not continue to ask. The attitude of the system is already very clear. It will not answer Kia. Let Kia trigger the new function by itself. However, Kia is also somewhat confused about the triggering of this new function. I've been reading in a library for the past 3 days without doing anything else. How could the task function be triggered suddenly? This time, although Kia didn't ask, the system quickly gave an answer. For details, please refer to the task template. Hearing this, Kia nodded slightly. Her consciousness sank into her mind, and she looked at the new page that appeared in her mind. There is still a blue page with more than a dozen lines of fonts flashing on it. Task template, quest name. Zoldyck Patriarch, task introduction. As the future owner of Zoldyck, the host must establish a force that belongs exclusively to the host. Ask the host to go to the hidden place of the Karuta tribe, rescue the survivors of the Karuta tribe from Phantom Troop, and successfully recruit survivors. Task reward, 5,000 strengthening points, 1 chance to awaken the Nen system. There's also a line of numbers below the task column, letting Kia know why he will trigger the task function. This task function was triggered long ago, shortly after Kia browsed the dark web and saw the information about the Karuta tribe's hermitage. However, at that time, Kia fell into a deep sleep after a lot of practice, and the system did not disturb Kia during Kia's sleep, but released the task silently. The system didn't mention it after that, and it didn't mention it again until now. So, Kia didn't know until now. However, power? Indeed, it is time for me to prepare for this aspect. In the Zoldyck family, the stewards are not counted. These belong to the entire Zoldyck family. In addition, the family heads of each generation have their own power, or will develop their own forces in the future. Ziponyen and Yamain belong to the current patriarch, that is, members of Kia's father Silva's exclusive elite unit. Of course, the situation in Yamain is a bit special. Last year, Kia asked Silva to come over, not counting those housekeepers. Yamain is now Kia's only force and subordinate. Phantom Troop? I have a close relationship with this organization. I just killed Brigade 8 a few days ago, but this time it triggers the quest to take food from the Phantom Troop. I remember that when Phantom Troop wiped out the Kuruta tribe, most of the members were mobilized. This time, it was different from the previous assassinations, and they had to face most of the brigade members. However, this time, there's no need for a head-on collision, as long as the surviving Kuruta people are taken away. Although the difficulty is high, it is not impossible. That's right, Ki is ready to take on this task. The Kuruta people with fiery red eyes have special physiques, and they are born to cultivate none. Moreover, the Kuruta people with red eyes are almond people with special traits, and they have strange and powerful strengths. Just like Karapika, after opening Fire Red Eye, he obtained the special Nun system, thus obtained the Nun attributes of the 5 major systems, and was able to practice and exert 100% of the abilities of the 5 major systems. Each of the Kuruta people with fiery red eyes has a potential talent of the trait system. Such a group of people, as long as they can be accepted as subordinates after training, they will definitely be a very huge force. As for how to accept him as a subordinate, this point is very simple. Repaying favors, although it sounds mean, but in fact it is not at all. The task of the system is to let Kiya rescue the survivors, which means that these people are all weak Kuruta tribesmen who were forced to escape under the cover of other powerful tribesmen. According to the description of Kurapika in the original book, although the Kaluta people have a gentle personality, they're sometimes very extreme and jealous. The Kuruta people who were exterminated by Phantom Troop and survived had an extremely strong hatred for Phantom Troop. Just like Kurapika, it was unforgettable, and they could even give up everything. But the strength of these survivors is not enough. Kiya rescued them. They will definitely be grateful to Kiya. When the time comes, Kiya only needs to teach them to become stronger so that they have the ability to revenge in the future as an opportunity to offer an olive branch. These survivors will never say no. Of course, these are just Kiya's conjectures, and it is still unknown what the real situation will be. But what's the matter? Even if it fails, Kiya doesn't have any loss. At most, it's a waste of time. If the task fails, Kiya will not be punished. On the contrary, if it succeeds, then Kiya can get a generous reward, 5,000 strengthening points, and a chance to awaken the Nun system. Needless to say, the enhancement points, but the opportunity to awaken the Nun system is a very practical reward. Kiya now has 4 systems: Conjurer, Traits, Manipulator, Enhancer. The rest is after Emitter and Transmuter. These 2 systems are not necessary for the current Kiya. What Kiya really cares about is that the Nun system awakening opportunity, the Awakened Nun system, comes with none, and it can be used smoothly as long as you practice a little. Moreover, the Awakened Nun should be very powerful. The last awakening directly gave Kiya the powerful Nun of space. Rescued Kiya directly twice in the Wet Meal Wetland. Kiya estimated that this time it should be similar. Also, if things don't go well, then Kiya is not the Holy Mother to confront Phantom Troop for the sake of the surviving Kuruta tribe, although he is now hostile to Phantom Troop. However, now, Kiya has a problem that bothers Kiya whether she should accept it or not. That is, he did not know the hermitage of the Kuruta tribe. Although I saw on the dark web before, Kiya was not sure if the address was real. Please rest assured, the host accepts the task, and the system will issue instructions to go to the hermitage of the Kuruta tribe. At this moment, the system suddenly spoke. Kiya, you guy, did you already predict that I would accept the mission? This is the thought Kiya directly recited silently. System, I have accepted this task. Ding! Congratulations to the host for accepting the task, Zoldyck Patriarch. Issuing mission instructions now. Chapter 35. Cold Brigade members, an airship landed slowly at the Donglai City Airport in the northern part of the Chris United States. Not long after that, a large group of people came out of the airport in a mighty manner. Kiya was among this group of people. Because of the mission, Kiya didn't go to other spawning points, but accepted the mission and came here. According to the system's reminder, the hidden place of the Kuruta tribe is in this country, which almost completely matches the clues in the darknet. According to the system's reminder, The Kuruda people are now living in seclusion in the mountains outside Donglai City, living a life of indifference to the world. I just don't know if Phantom Troop has found the hermitage of the Shankaruda tribe. System, if the Kuruda people were not exterminated by Phantom Troop when I arrived at their hermitage, what would happen to this mission? Kiyu was very curious about this matter. The task of the system is to let Kiyu rescue the survivors of the Kuruda tribe. But if Kiyu felt the people of Phantom Troop didn't arrive there in time and did something to the Kuruda people, then how would this mission change? Cancel directly? Or is the mission changed? Host, you think too much. Since this system releases this task, it means that the matter is a foregone conclusion. No matter how you change it, it will not help. When this system reminds the host, the Kuruda people have already been attacked by Phantom Troop. Now, Phantom Troop has breached the hermitage of the Kuruda people, and the surviving Kuruda people have begun to flee at this time, taking advantage of the natural hiding places in the mountains and the Takur Mountains outside Donglai City pursuit of Phantom Troop. Has the clan been exterminated? I don't know how many survivors there will be. However, system, you didn't issue the task of saving the Kuruda tribe, but rescued the survivors. Your heart is really bad. Kiyu murmured in a low voice, and then turned to the system with a strange tone. Said, this system has no heart. And, host, do you want to be a saint? Do you want to save all the Kuruda people? Or do you think that if you go to the Kuruda tribe's hermitage ahead of time and tell them the news that Phantom Troop is about to attack them, their Kuruda tribe will believe you for no reason? The ethereal voice of the system sounded again. As soon as these words came out, Kiyu was stunned. Kiyu heard the slightest difference from the ethereal voice of the system. It was a mocking tone. Indeed, she is not the Holy Mother. As a killer, Kiyu will not be so naive. Moreover, as the system said, even if Kiyu did this, if he wanted to take precautions and completely rescue the Kuruda tribe, he might not be able to succeed. Shaking his head slightly, Kiyu didn't open his mouth to communicate with the system again. After all, Kiyu didn't have this kind of intention either. The reason why he opened his mouth to tease the system just now was only because of his own bad taste. After coming out of the airport, Kiyu stopped the taxi and drove towards the outside of the city. Outside Donglai City, the Takur Mountains, this is the edge of the United Kingdom of Chris. The environment here is sinister and dangerous, and generally no one will come here at all. It is a very dangerous place for ordinary people, a forbidden place. However, it is incomparable with those forbidden places such as secret realms and demon realms. Although there are also monsters here, but there are only 3 or 2 kittens, and most of the rest are animals. Outside the dense forest, the taxi stopped slowly, and then a slender figure came down from it. After Kiyu got off the bus, the taxi quickly turned and left, not caring why Kiyu, a child, came here. Looking up at the mountains behind the forest, Kiyu sighed with emotion about the majestic mountains of the Takur Mountains. After the mountains were majestic, he walked into the forest. At the same time, outside Donglai City, on the road to the Takur Mountains, the taxi that Kiyu was in just now drove past quickly, intersecting with a short figure. System, could it detect the location of the survivors of the Kaluta tribe? Kiyu asked silently in his mind while walking in the dense forest. It would be great if the system could give the location. It saves Kiyu to search slowly. Host, please don't be greedy. The system has already given instructions. It seemed that Kiyu was a bit pushy, and the tone of the system was no longer ethereal but became cold. Hearing this, Kiyu shrugged slightly and didn't care. He also just tried it. No, it doesn't matter. Without asking the system again, Kiyu quickly shuttled through the forest and began to search without making a sound. On the other side, in the Takur Mountains, there are currently 5 groups of people walking around. These 5 groups are none other than members of the Phantom Troop. They are Krallo and Paknoten, respectively. Nobunaga, Maki, Phaeton, Finks, Franklin, Yuvijin, Shalnark, Face Shadow. It's really an exciting battle. It's been a long time since I experienced such a fierce battle. Franklin and Yuvijin walked in the forest, and Yuvijin shouted excitedly. Rarely, Yuvijin did not form a partner with his gay friend Nobunaga, but acted with Franklin, the peacemaker in the brigade. Indeed, These Kuruda people are very powerful. Franklin calmly nodded in agreement. The angry Kuruda people turned into fiery red eyes. Although their strength could not be compared with their own and others, they were still very powerful. Even for them, it took a lot of effort to kill the angry Kuruda tribe. Each of them suffered a lot of injuries. He still has wounds on his body now. As for Yuvijin next to him, this guy has punch marks all over his body, sunken into the muscles, and he can tell at a glance that he was hit by a very powerful attack and is seriously injured. But this guy is like a normal person, laughing and shouting. He really deserves to be an enhancer. However, while we were fighting those guys, some Kuruda children were sent out undercover. The head of the group ordered that the surviving Kuruda children must be found and killed to prevent the Kuruda from resurging. Franklin continued, "Cut, that's right. These mice are really good at hiding. They haven't been found after searching for so long. They are really angry." Yuvijin's face sank when he heard this, and he said angrily, punching the big man beside him. On the tree, the big tree fell in response. However, right here, Yuvijin suddenly saw something, and his eyes lit up. "Is that guy one of those escape survivors, Franklin?" Yuvijin said excitedly, pointing forward. "It doesn't seem to be, but since it appears here at this time, let's kill it together. It's better to kill the wrong than to let go," Franklin said calmly, and the words he said revealed his cold and bloodthirsty character. "Yaxi, haha, then it's up to me." Yuvijin nodded when he heard the words, and then roared excitedly. He stepped on the ground and shattered the ground. He turned into a cannonball and shot forward. Out! Boom! In the dust, Franklin waved the dust away and shook his head helplessly. Chapter 36, A Big Fish. This place is really big. It has been several hours since we entered the Tucker Mountains, and the sun was almost setting, but Kia didn't find any clues in a daze. Even the hermitage of the Kuruda people has not yet arrived, so it can be seen that the area of the Tucker Mountains is large. Those survivors hid deep enough that no trace can be seen, Kia said with some admiration as he walked and carefully observed everything around him, looking for traces of the Kuruda tribe as much as possible. As the killer of the Zoldyck family, although Kia's tracking skills are not full, they are still very strong. But Kia couldn't find any useful clues. This virtually demonstrates the powerful concealment ability of the Kuruda people. It is indeed a race that can survive for hundreds of years without extinction after the Red has become the world's 7 beauties. However, at this moment, Kia, who was observing the surroundings, had a flash of light in his eyes, and then a rough voice came from Kia's ear. A powerful momentum followed to suppress Kia. Kia frowned slightly and looked up. "I didn't expect to meet Phantom Troop." Seeing the menacing tall figure, Kia muttered to himself. Afterwards, Kia released Nyen Ki without hesitation, gathered it in her hands, and stretched out her immature hands towards the tall figure rushing towards her. Yuvijin, who was in the middle of the explosion, was stunned when he saw Kia's actions, but the next moment he laughed loudly. "Haha, interesting die." There was excitement and cruelty in Yuvijin's eyes. He was very surprised that Kia dared to resist, but at the same time, Kia's resistance also made him more excited. He loves nothing more than to drive a defiant opponent to despair, smashing them to pieces with his mighty fists. Without Nyen Ki, for Yuvijin, Kia is just a little kid with no power to restrain a chicken, and there is no need for him to use none to attack. However, it was this little boy who was not looked down upon by Yuvijin, but made Yuvijin a rough man with a thick heart, a tiger in his heart, and a rose-sniffing boss turn over a big somersault. In Yuvijin's excited expression, his big rough hand clashed with Kia's fist. However, at the moment they met, Yuvijin's expression suddenly changed. Careless. With this thought, Yuvijin's fist became twisted and the blood flowed wildly, and his body exploded back like a cannonball. Franklin, who was walking slowly behind him, was taken aback when he saw this scene, and then he activated his mind without hesitation, ran out quickly, and caught Yuvijin. Even with Franklin's shot, they still couldn't catch Yuvijin. With a muffled sound, the two of them slid back for more than 10 meters and then rolled a few times on the ground before stopping. After stopping, Franklin looked at Yuvijin's bloody fist and said with an ugly face, Yuvijin, you are careless. Ah, I was careless. I saw it was a kid, so I let down my vigilance, but I didn't expect it to be a big fish. Yuvijin stood up. His left fist was bloody, and bones protruded. However, he didn't care at this moment. His eyes were filled with faint thoughts, and he was staring at the petite figure tens of meters away, but his expression was extremely excited. He didn't use Ning just now, so he didn't see the incomparably strong and powerful mind energy on Kiya's fist at all. So he was directly injured, and the fist in his left hand could no longer be used. This little brat, Nian Qi, is so gazing. He is a master and should not be underestimated. Franklin also used Ning at this time, staring at Kiya. After using the condensate, he saw the incomparably tough and powerful mind energy wrapped around Kiya's body, and his expression was extremely dignified. Indeed, that mind energy belongs to the enhancer, and it's comparable to mine. Yuvijin nodded excitedly, his eyes flickering with hunting. None of the Kuruda survivors mattered anymore. This is a rare enhancer nun who has the same system as himself and has cultivated to this level. He couldn't let go of anything else in his heart at this time. He just wanted to hunt the prey in front of him. Franklin, who was behind him, looked at Yuvijin's injured left hand and took a step forward, ready to follow suit. But Yuvijin stopped him with his hand, and Yuvijin excitedly stopped him. "Full on, don't make a move, leave this kid to me." "Can you do it?" Franklin said flatly. "Haha, leave it to me. It's hard to meet a guy who is like me and has cultivated the enhancer Nian Qi to this level. I will never allow you to intervene." Yuvijin grinned and laughed. "I see." Franklin was silent for a moment, then walked behind. He was looking for a spot to watch the battle. The enhancer's combat destructive power is too great, and it is easy to be drawn into the battlefield of both sides here, and Franklin doesn't want to be beaten. "I didn't intend to face you head on, but it seems that the sky has not fulfilled my wish." In front of the two, Kia at this moment was slightly helpless and said with a sigh, "He came here this time with the intention of avoiding it if he could. After all, he knew that all the members of the Phantom Troop were dispatched together this time. In other words, there were more than 10 Phantom Troops in the Tucker Mountains Nun Masters. They are a team. With Kia's strength, it's okay to fight 2 or 3, but it's not good if there are too many, and he will be beaten. But I didn't expect to meet the members of Phantom Troop so soon. However, since they met, and they were the first to strike, let's start the war." Judging by the behavior of the big guy opposite, he didn't look like he would let himself go. Although I don't want to collide with the brigade for the time being, Kia is not a follower, and she doesn't fight back when her opponent comes up. This big guy who took the initiative, Kia said, he must be beaten severely, and if possible, he would be killed directly. This is by Huahua's strengthening point. Moreover, even if he can't beat him, he can retreat at any time. Kia said that the ability to have space is convenient. "Boy, I didn't expect that you are also an enhancer cultivator, and it's great that you have cultivated to this level." The sound of heavy footsteps came. Yuvijin clenched his fist with his right hand, and his rough body stepped heavily on the ground. Walking towards Kia, he spoke. "You're not bad either, big guy. Enhancer has cultivated to this level. You can rank high in this world." Kia heard this, shrugged, and praised with a light smile. "I have to say, Yuvijin is one of the most famous in this world for his achievements in Enhancer. Even if it is an opponent, an enemy, Kia will not hesitate to praise him when he meets this kind of person." "Haha, I'll accept your compliment. Then, let's get started, brat." Yuvijin grinned when he heard this, and then his face darkened. The next moment, he took a big step and rushed towards Kia quickly. Chapter 37 Boom. A huge roar resounded through the mountains and forests, and in the center of the battlefield, 2 figures kept flickering, fighting quickly and fiercely. The huge roar brought about by the collision of fists and feet continued to spread. A powerful aura formed in the center of the battlefield, and the entire battlefield became a vacuum under the powerful aura of the 2 people. The scarlet and blue air currents entangled with each other, fought, soared into the sky, and spread towards the surroundings at a speed visible to the naked eye. The fallen leaves fell, and a scarlet air flow passed by, instantly turning the fallen leaves into ashes. "Haha, That's great. That's how it should be. Such a fist-to-flesh fight is the romance of a man. Yuvajin roared excitedly as the rough fists continued to blast out. This is the most exciting battle he has encountered since he practiced Nyan Qi. In the past, the enemies he encountered that could make him go all out were enemies from other systems, and it was impossible to make him so dedicated like today. Even Nobunaga is the same. There are no fancy none, only the pleasure of punching and kicking. Kiya is the most exciting opponent he has ever met in his life. It's the first time I've seen this guy Yuvajin so excited. Who is that kid on the other side? Such APS has such strength. In the distance, Franklin looked at the two people on the battlefield. His face changed slightly. This guy deserves to be the one in the original book who has cultivated the enhancer to the level of pure jealousy, invulnerability to rockets. This kind of defense, although not comparable to that of Samo, Ku's big guy, is still very close. I can't break it simply with the cultivation of enhancer. Both attack and defense are top-notch. In the original book, if Kurapika hadn't used chains to forcibly put him in the absolute state, it would be impossible to kill him. When confronting Yuvajin head-on, Kiya thought silently. Even if Kurapika has cultivated 100% Enhancer Nyan Qi, it can't break his defense. Worthy of being the No. 1 martial arts faction in the brigade. With this kind of strength, it can at least rank 3rd in the brigade. The Nyan Qi of the Enhancer is comparable to mine. I can't defeat or even kill me in a short period of time by relying on the Enhancer alone. I have to use the abilities of other systems. Silently analyzing, Kiya came up with in conclusion. That is, if I want to defeat Yuvajin as quickly as possible, then I can't just rely on the Enhancer's cultivation base to fight, and I must use the none of the Kiya system together. Besides, it has been a few minutes since the battle started. The other brigade members must have discovered what's going on here, and it must be resolved quickly. With this in mind, Kiya's whole body was filled with thoughts and thunderburst, and he instantly entered a state of super speed. Crackling with a bang, Kiya's speed increased sharply. Yuvajin, who was attacking, and Franklin, who was watching the battle from a distance, shrank their pupils. They didn't expect that Kiya was actually hiding his clumsiness when fighting with himself, Yuvajin, and that the hidden power was even more terrifying than the Enhancer's cultivation level. Wrapped around Kiya's body, the continuously dancing Thunder Snake exudes a terrifying and destructive aura. This guy, he was hiding just now. Accompanied by this thought, Yuvajin, who was on the offensive, had no time to react. Before being able to defend himself, he was punched heavily in the abdomen, and the powerful, destructive power of the thunder instantly spread throughout his body. A mouthful of blood spurted out, and Yuvajin shot out like a cannonball, setting off a cloud of sonic boom. Boom! With a loud noise, Yuvajin fell into the mountain. The chain reaction brought by the huge force directly caused the mountain to collapse, and Yuvajin was directly buried in it. While you are sick, I will kill you. Kiya had no intention of recovering Yuvajin at all. The faint blue thunder flickered, and his figure flashed quickly. Kiya appeared above the collapsed mountain. He raised his right hand high, and a powerful thunder quickly condensed in the palm of his hand. The terrifying momentum vibrated, and the surrounding space seemed to become viscous at this moment. Yuvajin's defense is indeed very strong, but there is still some distance compared with Sha Mo Ku. When fighting with Sa Mo Ku in the depths of the wetland before, Kiya really couldn't quickly break through Sa Mo Ku's defense. But that is Sa Mo Ku. Yuvajin can't compare with Sa Mo Ku. Moreover, Kiya's current Nyan Qi cultivation has become much stronger after being strengthened, and the Enhancer's cultivation has doubled Kiya's physique and strength, reached a very advanced level. With the increase of the Enhancer, the power of Kiya's Conjuring and Speed Thunder has become extremely terrifying. Kiya is sure that without all-out defense, Yuvajin was really hit by his blow, so there must be a danger of falling. This point, Franklin is also so sure he can feel the terrifying power from the lightning in Kiya's hand, even with Yuvajin's physique. Although he has confidence in Yuvajin, but the lightning in Kiya's hand gives him the feeling is too terrifying. He dare not bet. So, he immediately started to act. regardless of Yuvijan's orders not to make a move. The fingers of both hands were broken, the 10 fingers were hollow, and the thought energy was condensed, and small thought energy bombs were fired quickly, covering Kia. While launching, Franklin ran towards Kia at the fastest speed. That huge body didn't look clumsy at all, but was extremely fast. Half the distance had already been crossed in the blink of an eye. Franklin didn't want to force Kia back with this attack, but wanted to stop Kia's attack from falling, even for a second. However, facing Franklin's menacing attack, Kia completely ignored it. The lightning all over his body suddenly spread, forming a defensive circle of lightning, and then he didn't care. The right hand that was raised high was also charged to the extreme at this moment. Kia swung it down without stopping. Chapter 38 Survivors of the Karuta Tribe, the Deep Mountains and Wild Forests. The entire Taker Mountains are majestic, quiet, and peaceful, like a sleeping giant. At this moment, a huge explosion sounded, echoing throughout the entire mountain range. This explosion sound is like a switch. Once it is turned on, there is no tendency to stop. One explosion sound after another is continuously transmitted. At this moment, the entire mountain range was completely in turmoil. Countless birds and beasts rushed to escape from the place where the explosion sound came from, scattered in all directions, and ran for their lives at high speed. The 4 groups of men and horses walking in the mountains also heard the movement, raised their heads one after another, and looked in the direction of the explosion. Among them, in a group of people, a young man with a handsome and elegant appearance but combing his hair in a suit and wearing a black coat. After hearing this movement, a bright light flashed in his eyes. "It seems that someone has found it. Pike, let's go," Krallo said to the royal sister Paknoten beside him. "Yes, Captain," Paknoten replied. The two quickly ran towards the direction of the sound. Apart from this group of people, several other groups of people also made the same decision by coincidence and rushed towards the battlefield where Yuvijan and Kiyu were fighting. And in the mountains, in a cave that is unusually hidden and almost no one can find it, several slender and short figures dressed in the unique costumes of the Karuta tribe are hiding in it. These are the surviving members of the Karuta tribe, and they're all young boys and girls. One of the oldest teenagers seemed to be about 11 or 12 years old. The others were 1 or 2 years younger than him, and the youngest was a little lowly who looked only about 8 years old and had 2 braids. After the huge explosion sounded, the survivors of these Karuta people were startled, and then the oldest boy spoke to the youngest little lowly. "Cole, use your ability to see what's going on outside." "Yes, Brother Tao." Hearing this, little Lolita nodded heavily and agreed. Afterwards, faint thoughts began to emanate from his body, and as soon as these thoughts appeared, they quickly rushed towards his eyes. The next moment, little Lolita looked at the rock wall of the cave. Immediately, a clear picture appeared on the mountain wall, following little Lolita's gaze. Like a virtual screen, the picture on the mountain wall is a movie, and the eyes of little Loli are a projector. This little Loli is the only natural awakener of the Karuta tribe, and she awakened none not long after she was born. And her none are her eyes. As long as she has seen people with her eyes, she can share her vision silently. No one can find out that their vision is being shared. It is a very heaven-defying ability in investigation. Of course, it is also a very wretched ability in some respects. This ability against the sky is also limited. Once people know the existence of its ability, then this ability will become invalid immediately. Can no longer play a role in the insider. However, who would tell others about his abilities? Therefore, this ability can be said to have almost no weaknesses in this field. At this time, the picture that appeared on the mountain wall was nothing but the scene of Ki fighting Yuvijan. The owner of little Lolita's shared vision at this time is none other than Franklin. It's so strong, it's even possible to draw with this monster. As soon as the picture appeared, the survivors of the Karuta clan, the oldest boy, murmured in shock. The pupils of the others also dilated, unbelievable. They all saw with their own eyes that the elders of the clan were suppressed and beaten until they vomited blood. Unexpectedly, Kia, a kid who was about the same age as them, could beat the monster Yuvijan to such an extent. However, immediately, The faces of these survivors darkened, and each of them sighed. Everyone felt sorry for Kia. Even if Kia can draw with this monster, so what? They all know that there are many powerful friends around Yuvajin. The owner of this vision is a powerful existence. Not to mention there are several other powerful demons. Kia alone is absolutely impossible to be their opponent. There is only one result waiting for Kia. That is death, died under the siege of the group of demons. However, at this moment, they suddenly saw the picture change. Kia, who was originally evenly matched with Yuvajin, suddenly changed. He was covered by lightning, and then his figure flashed, directly injuring Yuvajin, who was shocked by Kia's change. The scene of Yuvajin's huge body smashing heavily into the mountain made all the Karuta survivors present breathless. This guy is so strong, even stronger than that monster. Kill him, kill him. Seeing the scene of Kia appearing on a mountain and raising his right hand high up, several teenagers immediately muttered excitedly. For these enemies, they hated them to the bone, and their hatred was as deep as the sea. Seeing this kind of scene, how could they not be excited? Even if there's only one. They hope that Kia can kill their enemy Yuvajin, so that the spirit of their people in the sky can rest in peace. However, the next moment, their faces suddenly changed and they darkened again. Damn it, these guys have arrived so quickly. The oldest boy gritted his teeth, with blood oozing from the corner of his mouth, and growled unwillingly. The thunder in his hand had been condensed to the extreme, and Kia swung it down fiercely with an indifferent expression. However, at the moment Kia swung this blow, Kia's expression changed wildly. The thunder that should have landed on the collapsed mountain spread out in an instant, colliding with attacks from all directions. Immediately afterwards, Kia's figure also turned into a bolt of lightning, appearing tens of meters away in an instant. Has it come already? Boom. Chapter 39, Summoning. Ridiculous. Are you a step too late? Kia, whose body flickered, came tens of meters away and looked at the 7 or 8 figures in the distance in the gunpowder smoke and said lightly, he was going to kill Yuvajin just now. And Kia is sure that under the thunderous blow of the condensed powerful conjurer, it will definitely be a fatal blow to Yuvajin, who has been severely injured by himself. Take a step back. If not kill Yuvajin, Yuvajin can be seriously wounded and dying. However, Kia was one step slower after all. Not only Franklin made a move, but even other members of Phantom Troop rushed here. What should I do next? Retreat directly? Kia narrowed his eyes slightly, thinking silently. Kia doesn't want to fight against the entire Phantom Troop. Although his current strength is already a master of none, it is not enough to support him to fight against the entire Phantom Troop. This is why he would let off Maki, who had nothing to do with the mission in Sky Arena before. This time, if Yuvajin didn't attack him, Kia would not have planned to fight him. And just as Kia was meditating in the gunpowder opposite, "Hey, Yuvajin, you're right inside, come out soon." Nobunaga Hakama squatted beside the collapsed mountain, knocked on the mountain, and shouted faintly. Boom! With a bang, a big hand broke through the soil and stretched out from the buried mountain. Afterwards, a tall figure broke through the ground. The figure of Yuvajin appeared in front of everyone in the brigade. At this time, Yuvajin was in a state of embarrassment, with a small gap in his abdomen. His body was scorched black, and his hedgehog head turned into an exploding head. From time to time, an electric arc sprang out from his body, making a squeaky sound. Upon appearing, Yuvajin sat down on the ground. Seeing this scene, everyone in the brigade had different expressions. "Hey, Yuvajin, it's too low to be beaten like this by a brat." Nobunaga looked at Yuvajin and said lightly, "Haha, you're right. Yuvajin, I really didn't expect you to be defeated by a brat, and the title of the brigade's #1 fighter is crying." Finks also laughed and joked. Trash. Phaeton, who was indifferent and reticent, glanced at Yuvajin sideways and said disdainfully, "Wow." At this moment, Yuvajin spat out a mouthful of blood. This time, the brigade group stopped ridiculing. Haha. Yuvajin gasped heavily, blood overflowing from time to time. That guy actually has tune-in attributes. Not only 100% cultivated Accept Enhancer, but also 100% cultivated other systems. Under Kia's thunder attack, Yuvajin knew very well that Kia's Thunder's Nun practiced was even more terrifying than Enhancer. Enhancer played on par with himself, but when the Thunder came out, he directly injured himself seriously. This means that Kia has none of other systems and is 100% cultivated, and the degree of cultivation is even more terrifying than Enhancer. As soon as these words came out, everyone in the brigade frowned. The difference between the Nun system and everyone present are naturally very familiar with it. There are many systems that everyone can cultivate, but only one can cultivate to 100%. This is an unchanging fact. When they saw Kia attacking with Thunderbolt just now, they thought Kia was a conjurer or even a transmuter nun, but they didn't expect to get this information from Yuvajin. Kia can actually cultivate the two systems to 100%, something unheard of. Interesting. Kralo Lusilfer twitched his mouth slightly, showing great interest in Kia. His nun is ready to move and has the desire to steal Kia's nun. During the communication between the members of the brigade, the gunpowder smoke also began to dissipate, and everyone in the brigade was exposed from the smoke. Captain, this person is the guy who killed Isin before. He didn't see it too clearly before, but now that he saw Kia again, Maki immediately recognized Kia's identity at a glance, and couldn't help walking to Kralo's beside, reminded Kralo. Hey, it's really a narrow road to Uengia. Kralo was surprised when he heard this, and said with a faint smile, Indeed, I and you Phantom Troop are indeed close friends. Kia, who was opposite, said with a faint smile after hearing this. Can we stop here? I don't want to confront your brigade. Kia said in a negotiating tone. Indifferent, not weak at all. You killed one of our members, and now you wounded another member. You want to make peace with me now? Do you think it's possible? Kia's words sounded ridiculous to Kralo's ears. This is simply impossible. Even though Kralo still had a faint smile on his face, his eyes flickered slightly, and a faint killing intent spread out, covering Kia. Don't get me wrong. I'm not asking for peace. I just don't want to conflict with you. Kia heard this, smiled lightly, shook his head, and denied. He's not asking for peace. Although Phantom Troop is strong, there is no need to make Kia move from his heart. Although he can't fight now, he can leave at any time. Moreover, if you can't beat them now, in a few years, Kia will be able to smash them one by one. In this situation, how could Kia lower his posture to seek peace with the brigade? Daydreaming. You killed our companion, and you actually told me that you don't want to conflict with us. Maki heard Kia's words. His face was slightly angry, and he said coldly to Kia, regarding the death of Brigade Number 8, she didn't feel any sadness and was even very happy. But even so, Brigade Number 8 is also a member of their brigade. Now Kia, the chief culprit, actually said that he didn't want to conflict with the brigade. What a joke. Do you think they're fools? Believe it or not, that guy is the target of the mission. That's all. Faced with Maki's anger, Kia didn't care. His expression was as usual, and he was still very indifferent, facing the brigade without the slightest timidity. Why are you talking so much nonsense to him? Looking at the conversation between the two, Phaeton couldn't stand it any longer, stood up, put his hands in his pockets, and walked slowly towards Kia. A powerful killing intent instantly overwhelmed him. And two, as soon as the voice fell, Phaeton's figure disappeared instantly. As long as you are an enemy of the brigade, kill it. What? In just a short moment, Phaeton's figure appeared in front of Kia, holding an umbrella sword in his hand, and said indifferently, the umbrella sword in his hand raised high towards Kia. Chapter 40 Irony Swish. With a slight sound, Phaeton's body appeared in front of Kia. The speed was so fast that everyone could hardly see it. Phaeton is the fastest member of Phantom Troop. However, his speed is fast, and Kia's speed is even faster than him. As soon as Phaeton disappeared, Kia had already seen through this guy's tracks. The moment Phaeton appeared, Kia's sharp fingers, like the tip of a knife, slashed across Phaeton's forehead with a terrifying thunder crackling. Seeing this, Phaeton, who had just appeared and was about to attack Kia with harsh words, suddenly shrank his pupils. The next moment, he reacted quickly before finishing his sentence, and disappeared in an instant. Laugh. There was a tearing sound. A piece of broken cloth slowly fell in the air, and a blood flower bloomed in the air. Immediately afterwards, Phaeton's figure appeared in front of everyone in the brigade again. It's just that, this time, his appearance is a bit embarrassed. No, it should be said that Phaeton has been injured. The well-fitting windbreaker was torn open, and a bright red wound on the collarbone continuously flowed out bright blood, dyeing the black windbreaker black and red. Seeing Phaeton's appearance, everyone in the welcome group was moved. So fast. Phaeton, who was the fastest in the brigade, was actually counter-killed. This guy's speed is so fast. Compared to speed, I've never been afraid of anyone. Looking at the shocked expressions of everyone in the brigade, Kia smiled faintly and said, his tone was full of confidence, arrogance, and a touch of sarcasm. Although he fought Yuvajin very well in terms of speed before, he crushed Yuvajin in terms of speed the moment he turned on the super speed and severely injured Yuvajin at the moment when Yuvajin was stunned. Turn on the super speed, Kia's speed has increased by countless times. Even Phaeton, the fastest guy in the brigade, Kia has that strength. Isn't it a trick to attack in front of Kia, who has turned on the speed? It's useless, but once you have your hands. Being injured, Phaeton didn't care at all, with a sneer on his face and scarlet eyes flickering constantly. Holding the windbreaker with one hand, he tore the windbreaker into pieces. Phaeton held the umbrella sword and walked towards Kia slowly. He has already decided that he must screw off Kia's head with his own hands and let him apologize for his arrogance. Seeing this, the others knew that Phaeton was angry, but they didn't speak. Phaeton, let's shoot together. This guy's speed is too fast. You can't keep up with it at all, and his enhancer's none is comparable to Yuvajin. On the contrary, it was Frank who had seen Kia's strength before Lin felt something was wrong, so he tried to persuade him. He saw Kia use enhancer none to match Yuvajin with his own eyes. Later, after using none of other systems, that is, after the speed, Yuvajin was hit hard with one move. Although Phaeton is one of the best in the brigade, but he has a premonition that Phaeton can't beat Kia. However, Phaeton completely ignored Franklin's kindness, as if he didn't hear it at all, and continued to walk forward. Okay, full on. Have you ever seen Phaeton listen to advice like this? Nobunaga on the side yawned lazily and said casually, in my opinion, let's leave this place as soon as possible, given the current situation of Phaeton. Maybe that thing will be released later. Immediately afterwards, Nobunaga suggested to the brigade members, indeed, let's go, stay away from here. Krallo took a deep look at Kia and then signaled aloud. Let's go, I don't want to be hurt by Phaeton's attack. That thing is not for human beings. Finks said fearfully. After he joined the brigade, he was in the same group as Phaeton. Because he didn't know Phaeton well, he was not too far away when Phaeton used his unique skills to fight the enemy. The time he almost died on the spot. As for Phaeton's trick, he now has a shadow, and he doesn't want to do it again. Indeed, I don't dare to accept the power of Phaeton's move. Hurry up and stay away from here. If Phaeton releases that move later, we won't be affected. Shalnark also thought of Phaeton's unique move. The corners of the mouth twitched unavoidably on that calm face, and said embarrassingly. Several other people also nodded, and even Yuvajin had no objection. If it was not injured, Yuvajin would not have agreed so much, and he didn't even have to talk about the fact that Phaeton robbed his opponent. However, he was injured now, and he was still severely injured, so he didn't stubbornly want to stay here. With his current injury, if you stay here, once you run into Phaeton's trick, you will definitely be at risk of falling. Seeing this, Franklin shook his head helplessly, but didn't say anything more. Everyone in the brigade had no objection. They reached a consensus, and they all walked quickly behind, leaving Phaeton here. As for Kia, who was still waiting for the response from the brigade, but seeing this scene and the reaction of the brigade, she was slightly surprised and muttered inwardly, "What's up with these guys? Why did he leave suddenly and leave Phaeton behind?" However, at the moment when he muttered about Phaeton, Kia suddenly remembered something and understood why everyone in the brigade behaved in such a strange way. Phaeton, after getting angry, will release a small sun, blazing sun regardless of the enemy or himself. After this small sun erupts, it will burn everything around it. Even using nin defenses will not help. In the original book, during the Chimera Ant chapter, Queen Shakan, the head of the division who invaded Meteor Street, died of Phaeton's trick. Reminiscent of how this guy would talk nonsense and talk ironically when he was angry, Kia had a guess in his heart that this guy was probably on the verge of breaking out. When Kia was recalling the episode in his memory, Phaeton, who was walking slowly, saw Kia's absent-minded appearance. His eyes flashed suddenly. His figure flashed quickly, and he attacked Kia. Boom! Chapter 41. Furious Phaeton Boom. Even in a daze, Kia was still able to receive Phaeton's attack in time. The palms, umbrellas, and swords collided, and a shock swept away. The earth seemed to be trembling and shaking. Concentrated mind energy, Kia clenched his fist with his right hand and slammed heavily at Phaeton. Phaeton immediately withdrew a hand, wrapping his mind to block Kia's attack. However, at the moment of blocking, the sharp pain in his arm made Phaeton understand that what Yuvigin said before was true and not false. Kia has indeed cultivated Enhancer 100% and has reached the point where he can confront Yuvigin. Otherwise, it is impossible to severely injure one's arm. The small fist hit Phaeton's resisting arm. With the strong attack of the Enhancer and the powerful destructive power of the Thunder, Phaeton's arm twisted at a speed visible to the naked eye. The next moment, Phaeton's body shot out like a bullet, smashing countless big trees in half along the way, and finally splashed on the ground, rolling more than 10 times before stopping, taking advantage of your illness and killing you. After flying Phaeton away, Kia flashed his figure and directly used his space ability to teleport over there. Kia's space ability is a bit weird. There is no limit to the space imprint falling on dead objects, but there is a strong restriction on living creatures. That is, the target must be injured, and only in this way can the mark be left. This is also a limitation. This is the spatial ability of Kia at the current stage. Maybe continue to practice. Kia has the opportunity to lift this restriction. And just now, when Kia scratched Phaeton's collarbone with his fingers, Kia took the opportunity to imprint a space imprint on Phaeton's body. However, at that time, everyone in the brigade was together, so Kia had no chance to use this trick at all, because even if Kia uses the space nun to transfer to Phaeton's side, he will be found instantly. Not only can't kill with one hit, but also let yourself fall into the encirclement. But now, the rest of the brigade stayed away because they were afraid of being affected by Phaeton's tricks. This became a good opportunity for Kia. The members of the brigade were so far away. Even if they found out, it would be too late to come over. Kia is able to end a fight in an instant. Now that they are completely matched, Kia will not have any scruples. However, Kia still took it for granted. The reason why the attack on Brigade No. 8 was successful before was because Brigade Number 8 was wary of Kia, but in the end, because of Kia's appearance, he had contempt for Kia that he didn't know about. Tendency. However, Phaeton is no Brigade 8. Phaeton's vigilance is number 1 in Phantom Troop. In addition, he knew Kia's strength for a long time, so he didn't underestimate Kia at all. The moment Kia appeared by his side, Phaeton, who had just got up from the ground, rolled on a donkey regardless of face, and evacuated from the spot as quickly as possible. Boom! The immature little hand fell on the ground. The ground trembled for a while, and then it split open. Gravel rose into the sky like a fountain. A powerful impact swept away instantly, and the entire battlefield was filled with gunpowder smoke. Swish! Having just escaped a catastrophe, Phaeton stood up from the ground unsteadily and was almost thrown away by the impact. However, his strong physique allowed him to stand firm and quickly counterattacked. Hard! With a low murmur, most of Phaeton's thoughts gathered in the umbrella sword. With a flash of his body, he rushed into the gunpowder in an instant, appeared in front of Kia, and stabbed fiercely at Kia. Clang! When the swords and fingers collided, there was a crisp sound of swords colliding. Kia's nun skills have reached a very high level. The Enhancer's nun Ki covered her hands, directly turning Kia's hands into steel and iron bones. Invulnerable to swords and guns, hard to resist Phaeton's sharp umbrella sword blessed by Nun Ki without any harm. The next moment, both sides started a stormy attack, and the sound of gold and iron clashing resounded. This time, Phaeton's attack on Ki had the bottom line, and he was not blown away by Kia's punch as before. Fighting with Kiya was impressive, but he was still suppressed at a disadvantage. No matter in terms of speed or the power of Nian Qi. Phaeton can't compare with Kiya. Only the combat experience is stronger than Kiya, but it is also limited and cannot make up for it too much. In the stormy battle, wounds and blood sprayed continuously on Phaeton's body. After a few rounds, Phaeton turned into a blood man, with blood all over his body. However, just like this, Phaeton didn't show any irritation at all. Instead, he had a weird smile on his face. This way of fighting regardless of oneself. It seems that Phaeton is really going to use that move. On a small hill in the distance, everyone in the brigade was watching the battle on the hillside. After seeing Phaeton's fighting style, the corner of Nobunaga's mouth with a tick, he said with a faint smile, "Indeed, for that move, the more injured you are, the stronger the power it will release." This guy Phaeton is preparing for that move. Fortunately, we evacuated ahead of time, otherwise it might be too late. Finks nodded in agreement, his tone full of rejoicing. Wait, something is not quite right. At this moment, Franklin suddenly said, "Indeed, something is wrong, go back." Krallo also spoke at this time, and he also saw something. Below, the battlefield between Kiya and Phaeton. At this time, the battle has begun to show a one-sided situation. Just now, after Phaeton understood the injury on his body, he had already started planning his next trick, preparing to launch the most powerful attack on Kiya and burn Kiya to ashes. For this reason, he retreated from the fierce fight with Kiya while defending, and prepared to make pre-attack preparations. However, Kiya seemed to have discovered his intention, and the attacks on him became more and more fierce. Every blow could make he feel his internal organs vibrate. It made him unable to free his hand to make pre-preparation, and was completely suppressed by Kiya, falling into the disadvantaged. Wounds all over his body, bleeding everywhere. Phaeton's other hand received a fatal blow again. The arm bone was directly broken by Kiya's blow, and it slumped down. At this moment, the combat power was directly weakened by half. Damn it! At this moment, Phaeton couldn't calm down at all. His squinted eyes stared at Kiya, and his eyes were flickering with anger. Being suppressed by Kiya, he had no chance to use his ultimate move without injury. Damn it, man. However, everything is of no avail. As time goes by, Phaeton is completely at a disadvantage, surrounded by dangers, and is always on the verge of life and death. If he is not careful, he will be severely injured again, or even fall on the spot. Roar! It's useless. Roaring furiously, Phaeton was ready to launch his own trick desperately, ready to die with Kiya. It was the first time he was forced to this level by the enemy. This shame can only be washed away by the death of Kiya. For this reason, even if he loses his own life, he will not hesitate. Chapter 42, again the thoughts all over his body violently rioted. A fiery breath emanated from Phaeton's body, and a fiery red ball gradually formed on his chest. At this time, Phaeton was completely insane and completely desperate. He wants Kiya to die, Kiya must die, and he will not hesitate to pay any price for it. However, can things really go the way Phaeton thinks? Of course it is impossible. Kiya is not an idiot. How could Kiya, who knew the power of this guy's unique skill, allow him to use it smoothly? The reason why he attacked violently just now was because he didn't want this guy to have a chance to use his tortoise shell, which made him have some scruples. After all, once the ultimate move is used, without the tortoise shell, Phaeton, the initiator, will be injured at a glance. Blazing Sun, that is a powerful nun that can distinguish between friend and foe. Once there is no protection, Phaeton himself will be in danger of falling, and will be burned by the high-temperature flames of the blazing sun. However, according to the current situation, this guy seems to have been completely driven crazy. He no longer cares about himself, and seems to be ready to die with him. How can this be? You can die if you want to. I don't have time to accompany you. Facing the crazy Phaeton, the thunder on Kiya's body became more violent and terrifying, and the destructive aura emanating from the raging thunder snake became more and more palpitating. Kiya has not used her strongest strength before, only about 7 layers. Although the rest of Phantom Troop retreated a long distance away, Kiya kept guard against them. On the other hand, If Kia had used all his strength just now, the battle would have been one-sided from start. In this situation, everyone in the brigade would not let Phaeton attack alone. They would attack Kia together. At that time, Kia can only retreat. However, since there was a head-on collision, and Phaeton was the only one, Kia would not be cowardly and would directly strike ruthlessly. Killing a Phantom Troop member, Kia can get at least 1,000 reinforcement points. When facing Yuvajin before, Kia didn't hold back and was going to kill Yuvajin here. However, in order to test the power of his enhancer's non-cultivation base, he let Phantom Troop and others arrive in time and missed this opportunity. This made Kia give up the idea of killing Phantom Troop members. However, I didn't expect that the members of Phantom Troop would take the initiative to create opportunities for Kia. Then Kia would naturally not be polite, relying on the information she knew in her previous life, followed Phaeton's thoughts, and set a trap for the brigade and Phaeton step by step. Up to now, Kia finally had a chance to succeed with one blow. As long as Kia exerts his full strength, Phaeton, who has not used his ultimate move, will definitely not be Kia's opponent and cannot block Kia's attack. And at the moment when Kia released his full strength, Phaeton finally understood the current situation. The furious heart also calmed down slightly. However, immediately, Phaeton's anger exploded again. This guy, he was playing tricks on me just now. The destructive and violent aura made Phaeton understand at once that Kia's strength was far beyond his own, and he had been holding back when fighting him just now. If Kia had used this strength just now, he would have been killed by Kia long ago. At this moment, Phaeton didn't have any chance of saving his life, but became more and more violent and angry. He is the weak who is merciful. Unforgivable, he will never be weak. The sudden increase in anger made Phaeton's unique skill completion speed also increase dramatically. In a blink of an eye, the scorching fireball on his chest doubled in size, like a small sun, slowly floating up towards the sky. Soon, the small sun flew to an altitude of more than 10 meters, and the light it emitted directly brought the Tucker Mountains, which had already set in the west and was about to enter night, back into daylight again. The small sun floating in midair became more and more dazzling, and the scorching wind was blowing, as if it would change back to an explosion the next moment. "It's useless. Let's burn the sun," Looking at Kia's raised hand, Phaeton said with a weird and crazy expression. The next moment, the fiery small sun emitted intense heat and exploded under Phaeton's control. The intense temperature dyed the entire battlefield with another color instantly. Against the backdrop of fiery red, the fire spread instantly, turning the entire mountain range into a sea of flames in a blink of an eye. However, before the blazing sun's power broke through Kia's Nyen-Ki defense, a sky-reaching thunder column suddenly descended, completely covering the small sun, floating in midair in an instant. In an instant, the violently burning small sun completely disappeared. It completely disappeared under the thunderbolt pillar. This sudden scene made Phaeton stunned in place. The cruel look completely disappeared, replaced by disbelief. It was as if a bucket of cold water had been poured into the whole person. The monstrous anger disappeared in an instant, and even the tone of speech recovered. "How is it possible, my blazing sun?" Before he could finish speaking, a pillar of thunder that reached the sky had already descended on him. Boom! At sunset, there was a loud bang, and a pillar of thunder descended on the Tucker Mountains. The sea of flames all over the mountains was completely blown away and extinguished at the moment when the pillar of thunder descended. The sky-reaching thunder column kept flickering and buzzing, and it slowly dissipated after more than 10 seconds. As the thunder pillar dissipated, the situation on the ground gradually appeared, and a terrifying, bottomless abyss across the mountain range appeared on the ground. On the edge of the abyss, Kia has exited the speed mode, standing quietly, with the thunder snake flashing on his body from time to time. At this time, Kia didn't have any joy in killing the enemy, and his expression was as usual. No, it should be said that his expression was a little gloomy. Suddenly, Kia looked towards the opposite side of the abyss, not far away. There, Phantom Troop and his group stared at Kia warily, and Phaeton, who was in it at this time, lay unconscious on the ground. At this time, Phaeton's left hand completely disappeared, with blood flowing from the root to the bottom. Maki is using none to stitch up Phaeton's wound. Krallo, the head of the brigade, is holding a book in one hand and a small scarecrow in the other. The left hand of the scarecrow in his hand slowly turned into ashes at this moment. And the next moment, the whole scarecrow was directly shattered, completely reduced to ashes, and completely dissipated with the breeze. Chapter 43. Gale and Thunder. Phew. Didn't you succeed again? Kia exhaled lightly, feeling a little depressed in her heart. It's okay that Yuvijin didn't succeed just now because I was testing my enhancer Nen just now, so I was delayed for some time, so everyone in the brigade arrived in time. However, this time, even Phaeton was not able to kill and was rescued in that kind of mortal situation. This is something Kia can't stand. However, even if it is unbearable, Kia must accept this fact. That is, Phaeton was rescued, saved by Krallo, the leader of Phantom Troop, under his strongest blow. Krallo's scarecrow that has been reduced to ashes, combined with the fact that Phaeton was completely covered by the thunderbolt that pierced the sky before, and there is no possibility of escape. Kia, who has experienced the information explosion in his previous life, soon had a guess in his heart. The scarecrow brought out by Krallo just now should have the ability to replace a person's death. The reason why Phaeton was rescued just now is probably the effect of the scarecrow in his hand. That scarecrow should have been stolen by Krallo using his ability, the thief's ultimate intent, from the nun who fought against him. It's really tenacious, brigade. The tone was not very good. Kia looked at everyone in the brigade, sighed heavily, and said in a mocking tone. The two members were defeated by themselves in a row, but they were saved by other members of the brigade twice. While Kia ridiculed the weak status of the brigade members, she was also laughing at herself. Laughing at myself for being alone now. If he also has powerful companions or subordinates by his side. In the two battles today, Yuvijin and Phaeton had no chance of surviving. Power! I really should establish my own power. This encounter made Kia's thought that he didn't really care about become extremely strong. Even if there is no mission issued by the system, Kia will start to form his own forces when he returns this time. Otherwise, the next time he encounters such a situation, he will still suffer aggrievedly. In this situation, Kia knows very well that he has no chance to kill either Yuvijin or Phaeton. Kia felt really uncomfortable when Bai Huahua's strengthening point slipped away while she was watching. Shoot! Looking at the ashes in his hands, Krallo lost his mind for a moment and then directly issued orders to the brigade members, without any intention of talking to Kia, simply and neatly. As soon as Krallo finished speaking, Nabinaga, Finks, Franklin, Face Shadow, and Shalnark, all five of them turned into an afterimage, crossed the abyss in front of them, and rushed towards Kia. In a blink of an eye, he appeared beside Kia, directly surrounding Kia. The next moment, their respective attacks came towards Kia. Juha, 16 consecutive days. Soul Puppet Possession, Blast Fist. Puppet Antenna, Heavy Machine Gun. Sharp Slashes, Powerful Fists, Puppet Antennas in 2s and 3s, and Endless Mind Bombs. As long as another second, no, half a second, Kia will be flanked by 5 people. With a ferocious attack, even Kia, once hit, would at least end up seriously injured. However, will this really be the case? Would Kia really stand still and be attacked by several people? Of course not. Under Krallo's astonished gaze, the 5 people who had besieged Kia flew upside down in an instant, smashing heavily towards the surroundings. And Kia still stayed in the same place. Kia entered the state of super speed again. Krallo could only see an afterimage, and then found out whether it was Nabinaga, Franklin E., or Shalnark, who were all hit hard. I said, I'm not afraid of you. You can't do anything to me. Kia in the super speed state looked indifferently at Krallo, who was in a daze, and said indifferently, the speed of the wind and the thunder. The rapid use of skills is the same as lightning. However, the flash and lightning relies on Kia's own will to change the muscle action. Blast Thunder, on the other hand, senses the opponent's actions through the enemy's hostile thoughts and vibrations, and acts with physical reflexes. predict the enemy's opportunity, and win by surprise. The attacking methods of the 5 Nobunaga were all in Kiya's perception, and they responded. Coupled with Kiya's speed, none of the 5 could escape. However, it is only to this extent. 1 or 2 more, Kiya would not be able to fully react. After all, the members of Phantom Troop are all Nin masters. Kiya's physical reflexes can't reach that level yet. However, even 5 is enough. This brat, standing up from the ground in embarrassment, Nobunaga looked at Kiya with some doubts. Just now, my knife was only 1 centimeter away from Kiya's neck and was about to cut it off. However, the next moment, he was hit hard and was blown away without him noticing. The same was true for the others. After standing firmly on the ground, they all stared at Kiya solemnly. This time, none of them acted rashly. This time it was just an attack, and the next time it might be a fatal injury. Therefore, before you have figured out the situation, you can't just shoot casually. The speed was so fast, there were at least 5 attacks at that moment, and Nobunaga and the others didn't notice it all. Compared with Nobunaga and the others, Krallo, who was standing on the opposite side of the ravine, saw some clues. Although it was only an afterimage, he could clearly see Kiya launching different attacks toward the 5 people in an instant. Up to now, he has to admit that in terms of speed, Kiya is the fastest in the world he has ever seen. At least he has never seen a nun who is faster than Kiya. But it's really arrogant words. Is this your whole card? If it's just like this, it's not enough, kid. Krallo said calmly with his expression unchanged. He admitted that Kiya's speed is really fast. So fast that even if 5 Nin masters attack at the same time, Kiya can dodge and counterattack instantly. However, this does not mean that Kiya can be proud in front of the brigade. No matter how fast they are, their Phantom Troop has the ability to keep it. For example, he has this ability. In the book in his hand is none who can restrain Kiya. Chapter 44, The Snail's Credentials Crash. The sound of pages turning, the book in Krallo's hands flipping quickly. It stopped shortly afterwards, with one of the pages standing upright in the center, and Krallo reached out and tore it off. Thief's ultimate intent and Krallo's trait Nun can steal the opponent's Nun and store it in the book in his hand if the conditions are met. If you want to use it later, just summon the book and release Nun. In the original book, this guy used it when he was fighting against Grandpa Gino and Papa Silva. Your speed is indeed very fast. None of us can catch up. If we want to keep you here, we can only slow down your speed. After tearing off the page, Krallo looked at Kiya lightly. He glanced at it and said. Hearing this, Kiya's expression changed slightly, and he remembered the scene of being besieged by the overlord of monsters in the wetland before. At that time, he was used by one of the Warcraft overlords to increase the resistance of the air, and was changed by the other Warcraft overlord to change the gravity, and his speed was directly reduced by half. If it weren't for the existence of space ability, Kiya would have fallen in the wetland of Shamil a long time ago. Does Krallo have this ability too? That's right, this guy's ability is to steal interested Nun from other people. Maybe he actually has the ability to steal this aspect. Snail certificate. As if to confirm Kiya's conjecture, Krallo pinched the pages of the book and read aloud faintly. As soon as the words fell, the pages in Krallo's hands turned into white light and disappeared. Kiya, who was thinking about it, saw this scene. Her pupils shrank immediately. Without any hesitation, she quickly left the spot. However, it was still a step too late. Kiya could feel that there was a force acting on her body. As soon as this force appeared, Kiya could feel that his speed had been directly weakened by more than half. No, it had been weakened by 7 layers. Now Kiya, after turning on the speed is just faster than before the speed is not turned on. This kind of power is even more terrifying than those 2 monster overlords in the depths of the wetland. Even Kiya felt that her body became soft for a moment, but it was only for a moment, and this feeling disappeared soon. Furthermore, this ability can be activated without any conditions at all, and can be activated at any time. Kiya took a deep look at Krallo, and his face gradually became gloomy. The snail's credential, which I wrested from a coward nun. Once this ability is activated, the speed will be weakened to the extreme in an instant, just like a snail, and the victim's defense will be as fragile as a snail's shell. Of course, this only affects other people. It may not have such a big effect on this kid. This guy is not only very strong in physique, but also comparable to Yuvigin in terms of defense, and his speed is unprecedented. When this ability acts on him, it will weaken his speed to the extreme, but it may not necessarily have an excellent effect on his physique. However, this ability is simply a tailor-made weapon for this kid in front of me, haha. Looking at Kiya's gloomy face, Krallo couldn't help showing a faint, mocking smile on his indifferent face. Do it, this kid's speed is limited by me. Immediately, Krallo scattered the books in his hand, took out a small knife from his waist, wrapped in his thoughts, jumped up, and rushed towards the opposite side of the abyss. He spoke to the Nobunaga and the others. The snail certificate, this ability, is time-sensitive. Under normal circumstances, it can last for about an hour. But that's normal. This kid is clearly different. Therefore, this effect races against time and cannot be wasted. As soon as Krallo moved, Nobunaga and the others followed suit, thinking Kiya surrounded him from all directions. Even Yuvigin, who hadn't acted together before, followed Krallo to attack. Haha, as long as you don't have that kind of speed, I won't be weaker than you, boy. Give me your life. Yuvigin's rough voice spread across the battlefield. It is indeed an ability to restrain me. I have to say, Krallo, you with thief intent are in some ways the nemesis of many nun. Because you can take out so many different nun that the enemy is caught off guard and unable to react in time. However, if I dare to say that kind of thing, how can I have no cards? Krallo, what do you think? Kiya raised his head slightly. The gloom on his face disappeared completely. Instead, the corners of his mouth showed the same mocking color as before Krallo. Although you Krallo has a nun that the two overlords of Warcraft can't match, you still can't help me. Krallo, who was rushing towards Kiya, frowned when he saw this scene. This kid, what else is none not showing? Even though he thought so, Krallo's attack did not stop at all. Already appearing beside Kiya, the knife in his hand has already slashed towards Kiya fiercely. In several other directions, attacks by Nobunaga and others followed suit. However, at the moment when the attack fell, everyone in the brigade stared wide-eyed. A faint white light appeared from Kiya's body, and the moment the attack was about to land on Kiya's body, it quickly covered Kiya. Goodbye, spiders. The corners of Kiya's mouth curled up slightly, and Kiya glanced at everyone in the brigade with a light smile, and then disappeared from the spot along with the white light in the shocked eyes of everyone. Boom! Everyone's attacks fell heavily on the ground. Gravel flew across, and gunpowder smoke rose everywhere. Disappeared. The impatient Nobunaga put the knife back into its sheath and quickly searched for it. There's no need to look for it. That kid really disappeared. That ability is the ability of space. Krallo said lightly and stopped Nobunaga. Captain. The others looked at Krallo. At this moment, Krallo's expression changed from his usual calm to extremely gloomy. The kind of nun just now, he is very clear, it is the breath of space. And there are also nun related to space in his books, so he can easily distinguish it. In other words, Kiya really escaped from here, escaped under their siege. Phantom Troop, the first miss. Almost all of them were dispatched, but they missed. After everyone saw Krallo's face, they all shut up and remained silent. And the faces of all of them were also very ugly. Let's go, get out of here. Don't worry about those survivors. First find a place to treat Yuvigin and Phaeton. Chapter 45. Cattle and sheep and herds. Beasts always walk alone. It's amazing. This guy is so strong. Not only did he defeat those two demons in a row, but he was able to escape under the joint attack of other demons. After watching the battle between Kiya and the brigade, they all exclaimed. Among them, Tal, the leader, couldn't help but scream. What kind of ability is this kid using? He can actually master the power of nature like lightning. I don't know, but they are so strong. Those demons are not opponents at all. It would be great if we can also have that ability. Several other children started to communicate. You said, how about we go find this person and let this person tell us to master the power of that kind of thunder? Then we'll be able to kill those demons and avenge Dad and the others. One of the children suggested aloud, With a face, excitement overflowed on the face, and the eyes filled up. As soon as these words came out, these people were stunned and silent. After a few seconds, someone spoke. Indeed, if we can have that kind of power, then we can avenge AMU and the others. That kind of lightning almost killed that demon. Yes, let's find that kid and let him teach us to master this power. Yes, hurry up. Let's go out now. That child should not have left here. Several surviving Karuta teenagers became more and more excited as they talked, and one of them suggested excitedly. This immediately got the approval of other children. However, the next moment, Tal, who had never been involved in their conversation, poured a bucket of cold water on them. It's not relative. Why do you think that boy will teach us to master that kind of power? The excited people suddenly froze. That's right. It doesn't matter whether they are relatives or relatives. Why do you think Kiyu will teach them to master that ability? Several people were like wilted eggplants, slumped on the ground, their faces full of disappointment. It was hard to think of a way to take revenge, but it was the result they took for granted. As for Tao, after seeing the expressions of his friends, he didn't make a sound to comfort him, but became deep in thought. The little lowly Kalair on the side also fell silent, pinching the corner of Tao's clothes, and remained silent. A few minutes passed quickly. At this moment, a trace of firmness flashed in Tao's eyes in deep thought. Then he looked at the lost Karuta teenagers, took a deep breath, and said, "Everyone, listen to me." When the teenagers heard the words, they immediately looked up, their faces full of bewilderment. "I have an idea." Seeing his companions looking at him, Tal slowly spoke out his plan. And following Tal's narration, the eyes of the few people who were originally dazed and dull gradually became colored, and their eyes were full of hope again. On the other side, Kia's figure quietly appeared in a white light on a big tree in the tall mountains. As soon as Kia appeared, he sat down directly against the branch and exhaled softly. Cows and sheep come in groups, and beasts always walk alone. This should be a portrayal of my future, but for me now, I am still a weak person, unable to become a lone beast. Looking at the mountains and forests in the dark night, Kia's eyes shone with a faint light. Now, I am like cattle and sheep. I have to work in groups. Today's experience made Kia understand that the current self is not a beast that can walk alone in the world, but a cow, sheep, and weak person that needs to walk with others. The desire to form an exclusive force of its own is getting stronger and stronger. However, the current situation is no longer suitable for staying here. The mission can only be treated as a failure, but fortunately, there is no penalty for mission failure. Silently meditating, Kia gave up her first mission. Given Kia's current situation, it might be difficult to get out if he meets a member of Phantom Troop again, because the Thunder Pillar and Space Movement just now had consumed about 8 levels of Ki, Yuz, and Yin Ki. If he encounters a member of the brigade again, Ki should be able to use another space movement to teleport away from the brigade's field of vision. However, in that way, Kia's thought energy will be completely lost, and it will take a very long time to recover. Coupled with the fact that Krallo has imposed vicious none on himself, his speed has been suppressed to the extreme, and his strength has been greatly reduced. In this case, let the thoughts in the body reach the lowest point, and your own safety will be greatly reduced. Kia never puts herself in danger. Therefore, Kia is going to give up the mission and leave here. As for the survivors of the Karuta clan hidden in the mountains, Kia can only express that there is nothing they can do to help them. With this in mind, Kia took a deep look at the Taker Mountains in the dark night, shook her head slightly, then turned around and jumped down. After landing, Kia walked straight to the outside world. Kia's position at this time is the outskirts of the mountain range. From here, it only takes more than an hour to leave the Tucker Mountain Range. The forest in the dark night is full of dangers. The night is a paradise for wild beasts, and there are countless wild beasts lurking in the forest. However, none of these beasts dared to jump out, stood in front of Kia, and showed their fangs and claws at Kia. Each one is extremely well behaved, just like a tamed pet, probably because the aura emanating from Kia at this time was so terrifying, like an abyss, that these wild beasts didn't dare to have any hunting thoughts at all, and they were terrified in their hearts. The instinct of the beast was completely suppressed, and he didn't dare to take any action at all. But when Kia walked about half the distance, Kia stopped suddenly, raised her head slightly, looked forward, and frowned slightly. These guys are... Sorry, I was a little confused last night. Misread chapter 46, subduing in front of Kia, who stopped. There were a group of teenagers dressed in ethnic minority costumes. The oldest boy appeared to be about 12 years old. This group of people is none other than the Kuruda survivors who had been hiding in that secret cave before. Having lived here in seclusion, the Kuruda people know the Taker Mountains well. It is very easy to avoid the beasts at night, and the cave where they hide is not far from here. So this group of Kuruda teenagers arrived at Kiya's location very quickly. As for how to find Kiya, it is naturally due to the ability of little Lolita Kalair. Kulir's ability does not need to be seen with his own eyes to be effective. Even people who are seeing from someone else's field of view can share the field of view. Even if it's just a photo, Kalir can share his vision after seeing it. The ability is very against the sky. Just now, Kalir determined Kiya's location by sharing Kiya's vision and relying on his familiarity with the Tucker Mountains. Immediately, the group of people came to the place where Kiya must pass as quickly as possible and appeared in front of Kiya, fearing that Kiya would disappear if he took a step too late. As for Kiya, after seeing these boys and girls, seeing the appearance and clothing of these boys and girls, she also had some guesses in her heart. Appearing here at this time and wearing such strange costumes, there is no doubt that these guys should be survivors of the Kuruda tribe. It's just that Kiya didn't expect that these survivors would appear in front of her, which Kiya didn't expect. The survivors of the Kuruda tribe, however, although there was a guess, Kiya squinted his eyes and made a sound to confirm. As soon as these words came out, Tal and the others were taken aback immediately, and there was a trace of vigilance in their eyes looking at Kiya. Originally, the words that were brewing in his throat and wanted to be dissipated at this moment. Who the hell is this guy? Why does he know our identities? Could it be that he is coming for our clan, like those demons? Tal stared at Kiya vigilantly, thinking with a little panic in his heart. He already regretted bringing his companions to find Kiya now. If Kiya is really filled with their clan like those demons before, then they're now a sheep into a tiger's mouth. You don't need to be vigilant. Although the purpose of my coming here is you, I have no ill intentions towards you. Kiya naturally saw the vigilance of the Talji people. This group of youngsters are all experienced, and they can't hide their inner thoughts at all, and they all show on their faces. Although Kiya said so, Tal and the others were still very vigilant, and even 2 Kuruda teenagers had already started to retreat. Kiya didn't care about this, and stared at Tal, and Kiya could tell that the oldest Kuruda boy was their leader. Survivors of the Kuruda tribe, do you want revenge? Looking at Tal, Kiya raised a faint smile at the corner of his mouth, and said aloud, with a hint of temptation in his tone. As soon as these words came out, the boys and girls of the 6 Kulata clan were stunned, and then their eyes changed at the same moment, and they all turned into fiery red eyes. Think! Tal stared at Kiya with red eyes, gritted his teeth, and growled. Everyone else clenched their fists, and their immature faces were full of hatred. Even the little girl Kalir was the same at this time. Obviously, they all thought of the tragic death of the clansman. Then, why don't you come to me? I'm responsible for teaching you to become stronger, so that you can take revenge in the future. But, relatively, you will become my subordinates. Kiya didn't hesitate and got straight to the point. As soon as Kiya's words came out, Tal and the others were all taken aback, and then each of them showed surprised expressions on their faces. This is the way Tal discussed with them just now. In order to take revenge, they were going to seek refuge with Kiya, wanting to rely on Kiya's power. Become Kiya's subordinate. Let Kiya teach them to become stronger, and then seek revenge from those demons. Unexpectedly, Kiya's purpose coincides with theirs. Look at you. Are you here to take refuge with me? Kiya naturally saw the appearance of several people, and was immediately happy. Yes, my lord. We hope to get the power to deal with those demons from you, and we will not hesitate to pay any price for this. My lord, we have all seen the scene where you fought those demons just now. You have that kind of powerful natural force and the power to kill those demons. We hope to become your subordinates and learn from you that kind of power. Tal didn't hide anything and said directly, with an extremely respectful tone. Now that Kia said so, Tal also knew that Kia was not malicious, so he had no intention of hiding it. Besides, there is no need to hide this kind of thing, and Kia is now their only lifeline. If they continue to hide here, they are prone to accidents. Even if they are not found, food is still a crisis. The power of nature. Do you mean none? Kia was slightly taken aback when he heard this and immediately understood. That kind of power is called none. After getting the answer from Kia, Tal and the others were suddenly stunned. That little girl next to you doesn't own none. Seeing this scene, Kia raised her brows and said in surprise, Kola. The eyes of the others were all on the little lowly Kaler beside Tal. So that's it. Kalir's ability is amazing. The teenagers were not idiots and soon understood what Kia said, which made them even more surprised. Looking at you, you don't seem to know none. Kia's expression became even weirder. I don't know. Although some adults in the clan have this kind of power, we don't know that this ability is called none, and the adults didn't say it. Tal replied awkwardly. I see. Kia raised his eyebrows upon hearing this. No wonder the guy Karapika in the original book doesn't know about none's existence. The feeling is that the adults of the Karuta tribe did not explain the existence of none to the younger generation. I don't know none at this age, and I don't know why the Karuta people do this. Isn't this a waste of the talents of their Kaluta people? Kia was speechless and indignant at the way the Karuta people handle things. If the Karuta tribe passed none on, the entire Karuta tribe would be masters of none, and Phantom Troop would not be able to destroy the Karuta tribe at all. However, this is also Kia's fault for the Luda tribe. The Karuta people have always been in a state of seclusion. Although they have some contact with the outside world, they don't know anything about the existence of none. Those Karuta people who have none are all awakened by exercise in the process of growing up, and then slowly groping for cultivation. They don't even know what this power is called, how to get none, and the system, so they don't pass it on. Moreover, the Karuta tribe has always loved peace and dislikes fighting. Strength is not very important to them. In their hearts, everything is according to fate. They can have the best, and it doesn't matter if they can't. That's why this happens. My lord, are what you just said true? Can we be your subordinates and learn from you the power called none? At this moment, Tal spoke again, and he looked at Kia with an extremely firm expression, with a firm look in his eyes. The slightest hope. Of course, the purpose of my visit this time is to see if there are any survivors among you, and I want to save you from Phantom Troop and take them under my command. Are you willing? Kia smiled, responded, and asked. As long as we can take revenge and ask us to do anything, we have no objection. Upon receiving the reply, Tarleton trembled all over, took a deep breath, and then bowed heavily to Kia. The others followed Tal's lead and bowed heavily to Kia. Kia. Chapter 47 in the silent Tucker Mountains. 2 waves of Kia and Phantom Troop left here one after another. And not long after the 2 waves of people left, a mournful roar sounded in the mountains. Tal, bring them with me. 2 days later, after opening the majestic gate of trial in the Kukula Mountain of the Republic of Batokia, Kia commanded the Tals behind him. After finishing speaking, Kia walked towards the inside. The door also has a tendency to close. The majestic Tal, who was shocked by the trial gate, heard the words and saw the trial gate that was slowly closing, and hurriedly woke up several other companions, leading them to follow closely. After half an hour's journey, Kia brought Tal and others to a villa. In front of the villa, there were already many housekeepers here, posing a solemn welcome ceremony in line. Master Kia, welcome back. Indus, standing in the front, saluted Kia. Well, I'm back, Wudong. Kia nodded slightly and responded. Immediately, he glanced at Tal and the others behind him, who seemed a little restrained because of the large number of housekeepers, and said to Wudong, Wudong, arrange them check-in, give them special training by the way, and I will come back in a month. Yes, Master Kia. Indus replied respectfully. You follow Wudong first. Your physique is too weak. Let Wudong train you, and I will come to you after a while." After ordering wudong, Kia turned to Tao and the others and said, "Yes, Master Kia." On the way back from the airship, Kia already knew the information of several people, and at the same time, several people also knew Kia's identity. Under Kia's decision, several people were with the Zoldyck family. The housekeepers also called Kia the young master. "Yeah." Nodding, Kia walked toward the villa. In the gorgeous and spacious bathroom, water vapor filled the air. Kia closed her eyes, quietly leaning against the edge of the bath, washing her inner exhaustion in the flowing hot spring. Although he only went out for a few days and still traveled by airship, it can be considered exhausting. In addition, he collided with Phantom Troop once in the Tucker Mountains. Kia was also mentally exhausted. Soaking in the warm pool water also made Kia's tiredness slowly dissipate. After a long time, Kia slowly opened his eyes. After opening his eyes, Kia directly summoned his attribute panel from his mind. Name: Kia's Zoldyck ability: None. Conjurer None Speed Thunder, 5000. Trait None Space, 5000. Manipulator None Ring of Angel Archangel's Breath, 5000. Enhancer None, 5000. Strengthen points. Deputy ability: Cuisine. Advanced Cuisine, 500. Note: in brackets are the enhancement points required for the next enhancement. Strengthening points: 3653 item. Aluminum alloy yo-yo. A familiar panel emerged in Kia's mind. On the left side of the panel, there is another panel. Task panel. Task template quest name: Zoldyck Patriarch Task Introduction. As the future owner of Zoldyck, the host must establish a force that belongs exclusively to the host. Ask the host to go to the hidden place of the Karuta tribe, rescue the survivors of the Karuta tribe from Phantom Troop, and successfully recruit survivors. Task reward: 5000 strengthening points, 1 chance to awaken the Nun system. Completed. The first task released by the system has already displayed the completion status. It can be completely completed after Kia receives the reward. System: receive the mission reward. Kia didn't procrastinate and directly received the mission reward. Ding! Congratulations to the host for obtaining 5000 strengthening points and a chance to awaken the Nun system once. System: use the Nun system awakening opportunity. As soon as the mission reward is received, Kia will directly use the reward this time. Ding! Use the opportunity to awaken the Nun system. Congratulations to the host for getting the emitter eliminate thoughts. Before the words fell, Kia trembled all over, and the eyes sparkled. Demining is the ability of demining masters, and demining masters are a special profession among naughty ones. None of any system has the opportunity to cultivate this ability, but the number of people who can cultivate successfully is very few in the whole world. According to the records that Kia saw in the library, among the information obtained by the Zoldyck family, there are less than 24 known Nemesis masters, and the number is so rare that it is almost rare. And the ability to eliminate thoughts, as the name suggests, can clear away none. Just like 2 days ago, the snail certificate used by Krallo is a malignant nun that acts on others, negatively affects others, and even threatens life. And the master of eliminating thoughts is aware of the existence of these nun. In other words, the current Kia is already a rare Nemesis teacher. 2 days ago in the Tucker Mountains, although Kia seemed extremely relaxed, it was extremely thrilling. The weird ability used by Krallo almost completely restrained Kia. If it wasn't for Kia's spatial ability, Kia, who consumed too much mental energy and weakened his speed to that extent, would have 100% fallen there. But now, Kia, who has the exception of none, doesn't have to be afraid of these weird nun at all. Even if you get hit by someone else's nun, Kia can easily get rid of it by himself. On the way back, Kia was still thinking about how to deal with this special and weird nun, thinking about whether to use strengthening points to cultivate a portion of nun. Unexpectedly, the Nun system awakening reward rewarded by the system solved Kia's problem first. It's really hard to find a place to go through iron shoes, and it doesn't take much effort to get it. No, it's not without effort, after all. This is the task reward Kia got for completing the task. Name: Kia's Zoldyck ability: None. Conjurer None Speed Thunder, 5000. Trait Nun Space, 5,000. Manipulator Nun Ring of Angel Archangel's Breath, 5,000. Enhancer Nun, 5,000. Emitter Nun Exorcism, 1,000. Note: the reinforcement points required for the next reinforcement are in parentheses. Deputy Ability, Cuisine, Advanced Cuisine, 500. Note: in brackets are the enhancement points required for the next enhancement. Strengthening Points, 8653 item. Aluminum Alloy Yo-Yo. Chapter 48 Thunder. Although it is a bit dangerous, the harvest is also very impressive. Dong Dong's removal of Nun is enough to offset this thrill. What's more, there are 5,000 strengthening points. Now, besides Nun, I already have it. Although it is not at the same level as the trait space ability awakened for the first time, it is still very good. Although the Nun obtained from the awakening of Nun, this time, is not at the same level as the previous space ability, Kia is also very satisfied. Immediately, Kia's thoughts were immersed in the panel in his mind again. I now have more than 8,000 enhancement points. How should I use them? Looking at the attribute panel in his mind, Kia fell into deep thought. More than 8,000 strengthening points can make Kia's Conjurer, Traits, Manipulator, Enhancer, and none of any series get strengthened once. First, Kia ruled out the Manipulator's Archangel Breath, because, as far as Kia's current situation is concerned, the healing ability of the Archangel's Breath is enough for Kia to use. The rest is the Conjurer's Speed, and the space of the trait system has been strengthened by the Enhancer. There is currently no clear ability for the space ability of the trait system. There is only the basic ability of space transfer. Others have not been developed. Even if you want to strengthen it, there is no goal. Is it possible to strengthen space transfer? So temporarily pass. The speed of the Conjurer and the strengthening of the Enhancer. My Conjurer's Thunder is obviously more powerful than the Enhancer's Nian Qi. Even if you don't look at the power, you can see it from the reinforcement points required for the next level of reinforcement. Although the enhancement points required for the next level are the same, Conjurer's Speed has already been strengthened by the ability enhancement from the Novice Gift Package. Compared to Enhancer's Nun, it's obviously one level higher. My current Thunderbolt can attract the Thunderbolt from heaven and earth to attack. In terms of power, it is not comparable to my current Enhancer's combat power. It was the same in the battle with Yuvajin. As soon as the speed was turned on, once the power of Thunder was used, it would directly break Yuvajin's defense against the energy of the Enhancer, causing the attack to fall completely on him, and the other hit hard. If it continues to be strengthened, what kind of shocking changes will this power have? As for the Enhancer, if I continue to strengthen it, my attack power will also become stronger, and the power of my full strength attack is definitely stronger than the missiles and thermal weapons. Just don't know how much stronger it will be. Should I let the Conjurer take the lead, or should the Enhancer and the Conjurer go hand in hand? In the lingering hot spring mist, Kia's expression was slightly dazed. He was thinking about his next strengthening direction and decided. After contemplating for a few minutes, Kia finally made a decision. That is to continue to strengthen the Conjurer. Without him, Kia is very curious. What will happen if he continues to strengthen with the speed that he is now able to attract the thunder between heaven and earth? System: use the strengthening points to strengthen Speed Thunder. Kia instructed the system. Ding: use 5,000 enhancement points to strengthen the Speed Thunder. Congratulations to the host for getting Speed Thunder. As soon as the system's voice fell, Kia clearly felt that the Conjurer's thoughts in his body more than doubled in an instant. If Kia before had about 50,000 thoughts in his body, then Kia now has 100,000. With this level of Nian Qi cultivation, Kia estimates that the Nian Qi in his body can already be compared with that of his father Silva. Just don't know who is strong and who is weak. In addition, Kia also felt that his physique had changed, but Kia's feeling of this change was a little unpredictable. Stretching out her left hand in front of her eyes, Kia frowned slightly, with a slight thought, trying to touch this change. The next moment, Kia saw that the palm of his left hand had turned into a faint blue thunderbolt, and he had no palm at all. This is... Kia's eyes widened suddenly. Elementalization. This is elementalization. After being strengthened again, not only Kia's Nianki cultivation in his body has skyrocketed, but his physique has also changed. His hands can actually turn into lightning. With another thought, Kia's whole body turned into lightning, Her original body completely disappeared, leaving only a figure completely composed of lightning. The thunder snake spread out along the surface of the water, raging mercilessly and thundering. In a blink of an eye, the entire hot spring bath was destroyed by lightning, and the smoke filled the air. Afterwards, the thunder and lightning dissipated slowly, and Kia's body recovered again. The recovered Kia is completely indifferent to everything around her. At this moment, Kia was very pleasantly surprised. No wonder it is called thunder. The strength I gained this time is the same as the elemental ability of the thunder fruit in One Piece. After Kia changed back to her original body, information about elementalization also appeared in Kia's mind. After learning this information, Kia frowned slightly, but smiled freely the next moment. Kia got the message that her elementalization is not invulnerable. As long as there is enough mind energy, none masters can still attack themselves. However, this kind of attack must be a physical attack, and other attacks cannot harm Kia at all. In other words, if you want to injure Kia, you must engage in close combat, and the attacks of mages among the Nun will not be effective. For example, Phaeton's attack, Blazing Sun, encountered again, Kia didn't need to use Thunderbolt to destroy him at all, and it would be fine to stand there and let him burn. What's more, apart from those thermal weapons that restrained lightning, other thermal weapons were unable to cause damage to Kia. Thinking about it this way, it can be said that this weakness has very little restraint on Kia. The benefits of elementalization followed by negligible restraint are almost incomparable. The advantages outweigh the disadvantages. Although this ability is somewhat limited, Kia still has nothing to complain about. Moreover, the power of Kia's thunder is a little stronger. When she came back to her senses, Kia looked at the messy hot spring in here, and the corner of her mouth twitched slightly. It's no longer possible to take a bath here. Slip. Chapter 49. Aluka and Nanika in the dim corridor. Kia walked slowly. The little lights against the background not only did not make the corridor brighter, but on the contrary made it deeper, giving people a sense of sight of an abyss. However, this atmosphere has no effect on Kia at all. Kia walked into the darkness without saying a word. After going through layers of tightly sealed gates, Kia arrived at the final destination, in front of a steel gate with 7 or 8 layers of institutions. After a dozen clicks on the combination lock on the side of the gate, the mechanism on the gate was quickly unlocked. This is the place where the deepest member of the Zoldyck family, Kia's sister Aluka, was imprisoned. That's right, it's the younger sister, maybe because of the butterfly effect caused by Kia's relationship. Aluka, who was supposed to be the younger brother, was indeed a girl. Aluka, known as a dark creature by other members of the Zoldyck family, is tabooed by the tribe. Since Kia was reborn into this world and knew her identity, and knew of the existence of Aluka, she took measures early to prevent the abilities of Aluka and Nanika from being exposed to the eyes of everyone. However, he was still unable to avoid it despite all precautions. Last year, when Kia went out to carry out the assassination mission, because of an accident, Aluka's ability was finally exposed. That mission, Kia accepted 3 missions at one time and stayed outside for a long time. When Kia came back, it was a done deal, and Aluka had already been locked in this secret room. Even though Kia is the head of the next generation, Silva, Gino, and others still let go, and nothing can be changed. However, Kia fought hard on the grounds, and as the future head of the family, he got the opportunity from Silva to visit Aluka once a month. It's been a month and a half since I last visited Aluka. This time Kia this month's chance. And to make Silva, Gino, and others change their minds, they need to make their power in the Zoldyck family stronger, powerful enough to shake Silva and Gino. For this, Kia needs a stronger force. This is also the reason why Kia Nonstop began to use the system to become stronger after getting the system, because Kia wanted to release Aluka from here as soon as possible. There was a rumbling mechanical sound, and as Kia entered the password, the gate of the mechanism opened slowly, and Kia stepped in. Aluka, Big Brother came to see you. In the bright secret room, a little lowly in a kimono with an innocent smile on her face, slowly raised her head. Big Brother. In the huge airship, Kia sat on the glass window, quietly looking at the clear sky, and occasionally 2 white clouds passed by. It has been 2 days since Kiya visited Aluka in the deepest chamber of the Zoldyck family. Kiya once again set foot on the airship leaving the Republic of Batorkia, embarked on the road to continue to become stronger. Compared with my father, my current strength should be a little bit worse, about 9. If I want my words to change the decision-making of the entire family, my strength is still not enough, too weak. In the Zoldyck family, the strong are respected. As your strength becomes stronger, the right to speak in the family will also change along with your strength. With Kiya's current strength, he is still inferior to his father Silva and Gino. It's not that Kiya can't forcefully bring Yalugia out of the family. As long as Kiya is willing, Kiya can bring Aluka out at any time, because Aluka and Nanika only listen to Kiya. As long as Kiya wants to use Nanika's terrifying ability that is so terrifying, Nanika will follow Kiya's instructions to use it at any time. The Zoldyck family is unstoppable, just like Kiya in the original book who used Nanika's ability to intimidate Silva and others. However, Kiya doesn't want to break up with the family. Once Nanika's ability is used to get Aluka out of there, then there will be a crack in the relationship between himself and Aluka and the family that can never be restored. Although the Zoldyck family kills without batting an eyelid, is cold-blooded and cruel, but the relationship between the clansmen is quite harmonious, and Kiya doesn't want to destroy this relationship. Of course, except for Aluka in the Zoldyck family, except for Kiya, no one regards Aluka as a family member. Otherwise, it would not be locked up and called a dark creature. Thinking of this, Kiya sighed heavily. It's a long way to go to get Dad and the others to release Aluka. Shaking her head slightly, Kiya got up and left the hall, walking towards her own room. After several hours, the airship finally arrived at its destination, a small country in the eastern part of the continent called Shak. No, it is said to be a small country, but it is actually not small. The area occupied by this country can rank 5th in the world. The reason why it is a small country is because there are too few residents in this country. In this country, the residence of citizens occupies only 1/10 of this country. The rest are some deep mountains and dense forests, magic realms, and secret realms. In this country, it is rare to have 2 undeveloped secret realms, the Kekali Ruins and the Backer Secret Realm. Because of the existence of the 2 secret realms, a large number of relic hunters, Eudemon's hunters, and other miscellaneous hunters often haunt this country and develop the 2 secret realms. It has been more than 10 years since the 2 secret realms were discovered. However, it has not been fully developed until now. However, according to the information released by these hunters, even though the 2 secret realms in this country have been developed, there's still a large number of monsters. Although it can't be compared with the paradise of monsters like Wetmeal Wetland, the number of them is still very considerable. These magical beasts in the secret realm are very cunning, and they are a headache to clean up. After 10 years of cleaning up, only about half of them have been cleaned up. By the way, there are no signs of the entry of Kim Freaks, the high-yielding sow, to the 2 uncharted realms of the kingdom. This is why Kiya chooses here. If this guy Gene had been here, it is estimated that there would have been no grass growing here. Goose over the plucking guy, he, to a chapter 50 meet Minchi again. In fact, it's not right to say that about Gene because Gene will leave some seeds anyway. If it were Kiya, if he had the ability, it is estimated that the monsters here would be killed by Kiya to extinction. Kiya is now thinking about the wetland, and when Kiya's strength is a little bit stronger, Kiya will fight back to the depths of the wetland and meet those Warcraft overlords. The next time I go there, Kiya will definitely fight those guys to the death. Well, that's something that will happen later. At least the current Kiya, you still can't have enough power to fight those Warcraft overlords. Again, the current Kiya is not a beast that can walk alone. Having said that, after coming out of the airport, Kiya directly boarded a car and headed towards the Kekali Ruins. This place is different from Shamil Wetland because Hunter often goes to the ruins, so the drivers here are no longer surprised by the guests like Kiya who go to cities other than the ruins. These taxi drivers can't wait for someone to set off to the ruins. Because it is about going to the ruins, they will charge a lot of fees every time they go to the territory outside the ruins and the secret realm. The one-time fee is enough for these drivers to work for a month. After all, it is a special city close to ruins and secret places. Seeking wealth, and wealth refers to people like them. After several hours' journey, Kia finally arrived at the city outside the Kekali ruins. Let's find a hotel to rest for a night, and then set off to enter the Kekali ruins tomorrow. After arriving in this city, Kia decided to rest for a night before taking action. After arriving at the only hotel in this fringe city and registering at the front desk of the lobby, Kia carried her small backpack on her shoulders and walked towards the elevator with her room card. However, before taking 2 steps, a very familiar voice came from behind Kia, making Kia stop. Kia turned her head slightly and looked over. Minchi, at the gate. Minchi, whom Kia met in Shy Mile Wetland before, was leading a few people towards this side. While walking, Minchi was stretching his fingers and closing his eyes and talking, rebuking or admonishing. Although Kia's voice is not loud, it is also not low, and it is easy to hear. Minchi, who was talking, was stunned when he heard Kia's voice and opened his eyes to look over. After seeing Kia, her eyes lit up immediately. Then she left her companion and ran towards Kia in a hurry. Kia, in the blink of an eye, Minchi appeared in front of Kia, stretched out his hands to embrace Kia in his arms, and offered benefits to Kia. Stop it. Don't use facial cleanser. Being swept up like this, Kia suddenly had crossroads on his forehead. His face was full of displeasure, and he began to struggle. However, Minchi couldn't break free from Minchi's hug at all, and if he really struggled hard, he was afraid of hurting Minchi, and after several minutes of continuous facial cleanser offensive, Minchi stopped. "Why are you here?" Kia asked, unhappily while kneading her immature face. I'm here to explore Backer's secret place and see if I can unearth some ingredients. I didn't expect to meet you here. What are you doing here? Minchi replied carelessly when he heard the words. Very excited. The entrances to the Kekali ruins and Backer's secret realm are both outside the city, but one is east and the other is westward, extending several kilometers before the real ruins secret realm. The place Kia wants to go to is the Kekali ruins. These 2 secret places and ruins are in opposite geographical locations. What else can you do? Come here to explore. Kia rolled his eyes when he heard this. What else can people who come here do besides go to explore the secret land? Of course, it is impossible for him to say that he came here to kill monsters to earn enhancement points. Really? That's great. Let's go together. Hearing Kia's words, Minchi's eyes lit up and he invited excitedly. He knows how powerful Kia is. Even the big guy saw Mo, who has been taken care of by Kia, which she has already confirmed from President Netero. In addition, Kia also has the ability to heal. If Kia can be invited to join their team, it will definitely be a great boon for their team. With the addition of Kia, they can basically walk sideways unless they encounter native traps in the secret realm. Even if you encounter villains who are exploring secret places and ruins, you are not afraid. And Kia, after hearing Minchi's invitation, refused without thinking. Just kidding, Minchi is a fucking guy. He doesn't want to act with this guy. Although Minchi said before when they were separated that he would grow and mature. However, how long has it been since we separated last time? Kia can't believe that Minchi will have such a big change. Kia's refusal made Minchi very puzzled and annoyed, but soon changed his face. Why not together? The 2 of us met so soon. Doesn't this prove our fate? Since we've met, let's act together. Minchi put his hand on Kia's shoulder, pinched Kia's cheek, and said with a playful smile. At this moment, the people who came with Minchi also came over and looked at Kia in surprise. They were old partners with Minchi, but it was the first time they saw Minchi like this. It was the first time for Minchi to see a person so excited that he dumped their companions in a flash. Exactly. Kia, let me introduce you some. These are my companions. This is Kekol, this is Bailu, this is Hangdali, and this is Bahara. Minchi introduced several companions. Several companions are 3 men and 1 woman. Kekol is a small young man with a killer haircut. Bailu is a young lady who is very rich. And Hangdali is a middle-aged uncle with a gentle complexion. As for the last one, This key is very familiar. In the future, the 287th Hunter trial, the fat examiner Bahara who appeared with Menchie in the second trial. Following Menchie's introduction, several people nodded to Kia. Seeing this, Kia also nodded slightly and then prepared to introduce herself. However, before the words could be spoken, Menchie cut him off. "This is my little brother Kia, what do you think?" Menchie started the facial cleanser offensive again to Kia and said to several companions at the same time, "Who is your little brother? Let me go." Kia's forehead began to appear crossroads again, and his hand began to push Menchie's face. Seeing the interaction between the two, the four people on the opposite side shook their heads amusedly. Chapter 51. Menchie's guard Kia did not agree to act with Menchie and the others.
No more novels? Take part in the voting. The most requested novels and those with the most likes will be chosen for publication on euroaudiobooks.com. There, I can upload as much as I want without the risk of receiving a strike. Our 18 novels and other content that exceed what is morally acceptable are only published on Patreon or the free novels page. Remember, the site is funded by donations on Ko-fi and Patreon memberships.